to everyone joining us for this ALMA journey, the results, reflections and the road ahead. My name is Claire Dool and I'm your moderator, and I'm moderating along with Ali.
Thank you very much, Claire. My name is Ali El-Jaberi and it is a privilege to be with you this morning. Now, ALMA stands for Aim, Learn, Master, Achieve. And it is a flagship initiative of the European Union to support European youth who are excluded from work, training, or education to realize their full ambitions and potential. And the aim of today is to celebrate the success of the ALMA initiative, to talk about the lessons learned, as well as share with you some first-hand testimonials from the youth who have participated, as well as the outcome of the ALMA EU-level call, which started with a very important person.
Back in 2021, the European President, Ursula von der Leyen, announced in her State of the Union speech the ALMA programme, a real opportunity for young Europeans who were struggling to find work or training to get that opportunity in another European member state. And a year later, the EU level-wide call happened. And the rest is history.
And you are part of that history. The agenda of today is to celebrate the success of that call. I feel we need to be a little more in a celebratory mood, don't you think?
More music.
Perhaps, you know, a little more than you are used to in Brussels. A little younger, a little more excited. It's about youth. So I'll say the success of ALMA, and then you'll respond like a crowd that's very excited about the success. You're ready for that? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here to celebrate the success of ALMA.
Woo! The success.
And we do so with a fantastic program that includes high-level speeches, a policy panel, breakout workshops, and we'll also be introducing to you some of the fantastic, courageous youth who have participated in this project.
It's a really packed agenda, so we'll be looking at what's been achieved, and we'll also be looking, very importantly, how do we scale and sustain ALMA in the future. But first of all, some very important housekeeping.
Housekeeping, here they come. On your badge, you'll find QR codes for access to the full agenda, as well as some practical information. There's also a Wi-Fi password. Do join us on social media. #ALMAEU. We're also joined by a fantastic team who has made all of this possible. On their badge, you'll find the word support to a red background. I think that's it for housekeeping. Who's the first speaker?
Well, someone who's a real leading voice in the European Commission, who is committed to advancing skills, social rights and inclusion. Please welcome Roxana Minzatu, Executive Vice President for Social Rights and Skills, Quality Jobs and Preparedness of the European Commission. Roxana, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Many thanks and good morning. Sorry for being a bit late due to traffic issues that we all are familiar with. I am quite happy to start this beautiful Tuesday with you and to get inspiration from the stories of ALMA, from your work, from how you see the future for this initiative. But I will start, by a drop of honesty. I was looking at my agenda this week, which is absolutely packed with diverse topics, and we start yesterday with Council of Ministers of Labour. Today I deal a lot with mobility of workers, accession countries. Tomorrow I present the quality jobs roadmap. And then I was speaking with Cătălin, my colleague, and I said, so I have a speech on ALMA. What is it about? Is it a priority? Really tell me, because this week is so complicated. And then he explained a bit the initiative, and instantly I said, oh my God, this is the synergy between the European Social Fund Plus and Erasmus. Oh, this is absolutely amazing. This is what I've kept speaking about throughout this year. So actually, I wanted to tell you that it is so important that we take time to look at how we can innovate in social policy, in educational policy. And I thank you for for that, for those of you that are part of all this process. Because while in technology, we of course always are forced to innovate, to research, to discover new things so that we stay ahead. When we work with people, we tend to test and not even test, use the same methods. We are conservative, we are, in our own ways. And especially with the young generation, I think we need to be much more out of the box. So looking at ALMA and how it delivers for needs is quite interesting and impactful beyond maybe what you that are involved might think. Because we have such a systemic challenge with young people that are not in education, not in training, not in jobs across Europe. I've seen the numbers in my speech is 11%, and I know them, but I know them because I'm coming from Romania, where the number of needs is the highest actually in Europe, and 1 out of 5 young people are in this situation. Thing is, I've also worked a bit with European Social Fund Plus, quite a bit, trying to deliver solutions so that we help them. Sometimes we wouldn't find them because they are also, mobile in Europe. Sometimes we had issues to support them because of lack of basic skills in primary education. So many interesting facets of how we try to support them. And every time we went back to the idea, we have not found the best solution. We have not yet found the method to really change these young people's lives. We do offer traineeships, maybe we do offer some type of education, training, go back to school, after school, mentoring, but it's still not the right method. So coming back to the fact that ALMA is innovation, it is so important. And I think I can only say today and that any time that I will have the occasion, I will encourage member states, I will encourage management authorities that use ESF or other types of similar resources, do innovate, do, for example, use the method that ALMA tested so successfully for the beneficiaries and spread it. I've seen some of the stories, again, I've read them on different links on websites, Luca, Mateusz, Loredana, I don't know if they're in the room, maybe. But I've seen some of the stories and how the ALMA approach, including the mobility part, which is quite new compared to what we traditionally do with ESF, changed their life. Traveling always opens minds, expands, inspires, and this is always the case not just for top-notch students. It's the case for people that have still not found their path in life or are not yet anchored, as to how they can deliver on their education, on their jobs. So traveling and experiencing and learning in other contexts, in international context, educational mobilities can do wonders. That's why, again, looking at how Europe and the European Union has dealt with this challenge of young people not finding yet their path and how we need to innovate more, I can only say that we need much more of ALMA, much more than you've already delivered. So I'm looking forward to, I'm hoping to stay as much as possible. I'm looking forward to hearing a bit on the experience of delivering ALMA, on the stories, the way the lives have been changed. But no need to think that here you have in your presence just a commissioner, or I am somebody who has worked with young Roma people, with young people that are from vulnerable communities. I live my home city where I live is the same, I always say it is the same place I was born. My neighbors are the same, many are needs, young people. I do not live in the theory of or only in the policy labs and in the workings of Brussels. I am like you, with you, often there in the streets, in the neighborhoods, in the villages. I know the lives that we can touch, and I think that together we should do our best to change them for the better. And count on me to also be a policymaker that is open-minded, that is prone and to support innovation and to use what you've already tested into our larger scale tools, as we are also looking at the next MFF as I'm trying to also use the European semester. So I'm a policymaker that will for sure use your work and your inspiration. So really, my tone of voice was calm and nice, but I'm super excited and very grateful for everything that you've done, for you that have benefited from this wonderful initiative. Count on me, and thank you for the invitation again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for your heartfelt words and your open-mindedness, and also the personal note. Thanks again. Now, as the Commissioner said, ALMA is innovative, and the work was pioneered in Germany and subsequently transferred to other EU countries through the so-called Transnational Learning Network Mobility. And therefore, I am very happy that our next speaker, and she will be the first out of 3 speakers who will be welcoming you. She is the Permanent State Secretary at the Federal Ministry of Labor and Social Affairs in Germany. Please welcome Lilian Chan.
Dear Vice President Minzato, dear Director Gelivicine, dear colleagues, friends, and ALMA supporters, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor to be here today at the ALMA journey, results, reflections, and road ahead. I warmly welcome all of you, also from my side, all project operators, national and regional authorities, colleagues from the European Commission, and very importantly, the young participants who have taken part in ALMA projects. You are the reason we are here. We are gathered today to reflect on ALMA's journey, a journey shaped by all of you who have participated. We are here to celebrate achievements, learn from experiences, and look ahead. Europe faces many challenges. Young people often encounter barriers to education, work, and social inclusion. ALMA provides a response. It offers opportunity, guidance, and a chance to shape a meaningful future. The work-related learning experience abroad is not only professional, it is personal. It allows young people to reset completely and start again, to discover their strengths and to grow in confidence, the foundation for every step that follows. Let us take a brief look at ALMA's origins. The roots lie in Germany's ESF program, Integration durch Austausch, integration through exchange. It's known as IDA, sort of ALMA's mom. Since 2008, this program and its successors, including Juventus, have given more than 15,000 disadvantaged young people a work-related experience abroad. In 2012, the concept grew into the TLN Mobility Network because the early successes and proven impact of IDA inspired other countries. Member states and regions wanted to cooperate, to learn from each other, and to make such experience available to young people all across Europe. Building on this experience, the European Commission launched ALMA in 2021. It provides structured, high-quality mobility opportunities that help young people gain confidence, develop skills, and strengthen their sense of belonging across Europe. ALMA is already making a difference. Across the EU, 28 projects in 10 member states have been supported through the ALMA EU-level call. Participants from countries such as Greece, Malta, Spain, and Poland have benefited from these opportunities. Surveys show its impact. Many participants gain confidence, social skills, and a stronger sense of European identity. This helps them to move successfully into work, education, or further training, a truly life-changing experience. Behind these results are personal stories, young people who found courage, direction, and dignity through ALMA. It is a program that restores confidence and turns social policy into something real and tangible. ALMA is built to last and to grow. It combines structured guidance, transnational mobility, and work-related experience. This design allows it to adapt to new challenges. Its greatest strength is its people. Mentors, peers, and partners guide participants and inspire them to reach their potential. To member states not yet implementing ALMA, I invite you to join this journey. ALMA is flexible. It can be adapted to national and regional contexts. It can be scaled to different realities. The more countries participate, the stronger the network becomes. Knowledge is shared, quality improves, opportunities expand for participants across Europe. Together, we can turn local, regional, and national successes into a truly European achievement. We can build a network of inclusion, solidarity, and opportunity. Looking forward, ALMA must continue to evolve. The labor market and society are changing fast. Young people have new expectations and face uncertainties. ALMA provides a response through work-related experiences abroad. This helps participants adapt, gain confidence, and develop the skills needed in a rapidly changing world. It is supported by strong partnerships between public services, project operators, and employers. Our shared goal is clear. ALMA must remain inclusive, empowering, and capable of opening doors for every participant. We also see an opportunity for ALMA in the context of currently discussed multi-annual financial framework 2028 to 2034 to become an integral part of Erasmus+. This would create one strong European framework that brings all youth mobility schemes together. It would complete Erasmus+ with an additional focus on disadvantaged young people. At the same time, it is crucial that ALMA's specific approach is preserved. It focuses on disadvantaged youth, structured guidance, and work-related learning experience. By joining forces in this way, we can scale the impact while keeping the program true to its core mission. Dear colleagues, ALMA is about human potential. It is about trust, empathy, and belief in young people. It builds bridges where others see walls. It provides support where isolation could take root. It gives participants the confidence, skills, and networks to take charge of their future. Your work matters. It changes lives, and it strengthens Europe's commitment to inclusion, opportunity, and shared responsibility. Let today be more than a reflection on results. Let it be a commitment to continue the journey together. Let us share experiences and support each other. Let us ensure ALMA reaches every participant who can benefit across borders, across communities, across Europe. Thank you very much, and I wish you all a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Lilian, and indeed, Germany's long-standing commitment, as you reminded us, first of all, there was IDA, and now there is ALMA. And exactly as Lilian said, it's a life-changing experience for many young people, offering them employment opportunities. Our next speaker plays a really key role in shaping Europe's employment policies. As chair of the Employment Committee, Ulrike Hall brings together member states to promote better jobs, stronger skills, and more inclusive labour markets. The floor is yours.
Dear colleagues, good morning. Dear Executive Vice President. First, let me thank you for this kind invitation and allow me to briefly introduce myself. I'm Ulrike Hall, as was said, and since 1st of August, I have the pleasure of chairing the EU Employment Committee, known as EMCO, and we are tasked by the treaties to provide advice to the Council and to the Commission on employment and skills policies. In recent years, we have often spoken about how Europe must strengthen its human capital and how our competitiveness will increasingly rest on skills, knowledge, and quality jobs. ALMA embodies this direction of travel. It is not simply a labour market programme, it's an investment, a social investment in young people who are furthest away from the labour market and who require not just work experience, but also confidence, guidance, and life opportunities. ALMA focuses on those young people who face multiple overlapping disadvantages, the long-term inactive, those living in rural or remote areas, those who fall through the cracks of our social fabric. These are not always the young people who show up at the counters of our public employment services or register for training. These are the ones who often struggle, that we often struggle to reach, yet the ones who stand to benefit the most. What distinguishes ALMA is a combination of training, work-related learning, mobility, and personalized support. Young participants do not only acquire skills, they learn to attend training and work in teams, to navigate expectations, to live independently in another country. They rediscover motivation, confidence, and sense of belonging. These are outcomes that classroom alone can't produce. In EMCO, our recent work on the economic returns of employment, skills and social policies has confirmed something that we feel intuitively. When we invest in human capital, i.e. in people, especially in those at risk of exclusion, the returns are not only social, they can also be economic. It's for the benefit of both the individual and the society at large. We build employability, we reduce long-term dependency, we break intergenerational cycles of vulnerability, and we strengthen the resilience of our labor markets and our societies. Indeed, when I speak of returns, I do so in the broadest sense. Higher participation, smoother transition into work, greater social inclusion, and a strong sense of European identity for a generation that needs it. This reflects a virtuous cycle which EMCO has also examined in our recent work on job quality. Better skills leads to better job matches. Better jobs can lead to higher engagement, happier employees, productivity, and a more productive workforce reinforces our competitiveness. Programs like ALMA can be one of the engines that set this cycle in motion where it matters the most. But indeed, we must also bear in mind that the opposite is also true. Lack of employment opportunities compounds over time, with negative repercussions and scaring effects on all aspects of life. We know Europe is navigating a profound transformation. Skills shortages remain widespread, demographic pressures are intensifying, global competition is increasingly talent-driven. And we also know that we can't compete on cost, we must compete on capability and quality. This means unlocking talent, it means activating potential where it's hardest to activate. It means ensuring that no young person is left behind, particularly those who need more than just the standard training offer. In November, the EMCO Policy Analysis Group reviewed the implementation of the Youth Guarantee. We saw clear progress, but also persistent gaps. Some of the gaps were untapped activation potential in many member states, insufficient data cooperation among institutions, especially for cross-border informational needs, and persisting difficulties in outreach, particularly in rural areas and among the most vulnerable groups. One conclusion stood out strongly. On the one hand, targeted, personalized approaches focused on the individuals are still needed. On the other hand, mobility constraints and lack of affordable housing require also EU-level solutions. And this is precisely where ALMA offers something of high value. Through mentoring, guidance, counseling, and international experience, ALMA meets young people where they are in life and not where we expect them to be. It treats them as individuals with aspirations, not statistical categories. The early outcomes of ALMA are very encouraging. Participants improve their soft skills, develop work habits, learn new languages, and many return ready to engage in employment or further learning. And we see tangible shifts in motivation and in the European sense of belonging. We must also be frank, the scale of the challenge is far greater than the scale of our current intervention. If the early results are promising, and they are, then the natural next step is growth. More member states involved, more young people reached, more lasting bridges between employment and social services, and more structured cooperation for reintegration after mobility abroad. In conclusion, let me stress a principle that is central to what we try to do in EMCO. We often talk about integration and coherence between economic, employment, and social policies, and ALMA shows this in practice. It shows what happens when employment and social policies are not parallel streams, but part of the same river. When activation, counseling, skills development, and inclusion flow together, the outcomes multiply. It reminds us that inclusion is not the opposite of competitiveness. Inclusion can be the pathway to competitiveness. And the young people who succeed through ALMA are proof of that. Europe needs talent and the courage to invest in those who need opportunities to show it. In this sense, ALMA is not only a program. It is a promise that every young person, however vulnerable, deserves the chance to aim, to learn, to master, and to achieve. Today, I look forward to hearing your views on how to scale and nurture this promise. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ulrika, for your words. Our next speaker is the director of the European Social Fund Agency, and they coordinate the European Competence Center for Social Innovation under the ESF Plus Social Innovation Plus initiative. Young folks, this is a lot of technical words to say that they play an important role in the ALMA project. Please welcome Director Laura Gerlevicene.
Good morning. Dear State Secretary Mr. Chan, dear Chair of EMCO Mr. Hall, dear colleagues from the European Commission, dear project operators, dear guests, it is an honor to represent the European Social Fund Agency and the European Competence Center of Social Innovation and to participate at this event as it marks a significant milestone in implementing the ALMA initiative for all of us here and across Europe. ALMA is not just a framework or just a project. It is a social innovation, a new path, a journey of becoming. Today we celebrate not only results and achievements, but also the human stories that stand behind them. Stories of courage, discovery, and transformation. Stories that remind us why ALMA initiative stands out. This is a story about Elżbieta, a young woman from Slovakia. She studied promotional art, completed her university degree, and carried with her a passion of photography and design. On paper, she had every reason to feel hopeful, but after graduation, as she put it herself, afterwards nothing. Despite her education, she could not find a job. She sent out CVs, but without practical experience, doors simply did not open. For almost 2 years, she remained registered with labor officer. Slowly, her confidence weakened and her dream of building an independent life drifted further away. One day, during an ordinary visit to the labor office, something extraordinary happened. She heard about the ALMA project, a program offering preparation in Slovakia, a supervised experience abroad, and continued supported afterwards. ALMA became a lifeline, and she chose to take it. Elżbieta joined a group of 21 young people for intensive training. Soon she boarded a plane to Italy, a step far outside her comfort zone. What she found there changed her perspective entirely. She began speaking a foreign language, met new people, and experienced a different culture. In one symbolic moment of self-confidence, she fulfilled a dream, a solo trip to Milan. She came home a different young woman, transformed by her journey. She returned with real work experience, clarity, and renewed purpose. After 2 years of silence, she finally secured a job. Today she encourages others with simply powerful words. Just do it. You may even discover something new about yourself. And perhaps the deepest transformation is in how she now sees herself and the world. Before this experience, I hadn't really thought much about Europe, but now I see how much is out there, Elżbieta said. Elżbieta's journey is just one among many. Over the last 2 years, 28 ALMA pilot projects in 15 member states have empowered more than 800 young people to take the first step towards reshaping their self-confidence and transforming their future. It is important to acknowledge that ALMA's achievements have only been possible thanks to the commitment of the many people and institutions who have guided and supported this journey. And all of them are here. As we are celebrating the results of our first call, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the European Commission for the opportunity to implement this important European Social Fund, Social Innovation Initiative, and for the confidence shown in our joint work. Social innovation is essential in responding to the challenges that Europe faces today, and we have embraced this responsibility with full commitment. To our colleagues of the European Commission, thank you for your continuous cooperation, guidance, and your unwavering support throughout past 3 years. My gratitude also extends to ALMA network, its members, experts, and leaders who stand united in their commitment to the ALMA network concept. Your expertness, your readiness to share knowledge, and your steadfast belief in the purpose of this initiative have been invaluable. Over these 3 years, you have built a truly transnational community founded on trust and shared purpose, ensuring that the ALMA initiative can be implemented widely, effectively, and sustainably. I'm equally grateful to our project implementers who embraced this transnational call and undertook the complex task of delivering ALMA across 15 European Union member states. The paths you followed were diverse, and at times the challenges were considerable. Yet today we recognize the results of your commitment, your resilience, and your dedication to the young people you supported. May your work continue to illuminate and inspire communities throughout Europe. I also wish to extend my heartfelt thanks to my team at the European Competence Center of Social Innovation of ESFA. With exceptional dedication and supported by the European Commission and the ALMA network, they adopted best practices, launched our first call, and guided this ambitious process. A warm thank you to colleagues in Malaga, Athens, Prague, and Berlin for hosting us during study visits and for demonstrating so clearly how ALMA is implemented in their countries. Thank you once again for making this shared learning journey so valuable. And finally, I wish to express our deepest gratitude to those at the center of this initiative, the participants of ALMA projects. Thank you for hearing the call to join, for choosing to believe, and for daring to take the first steps toward change. Your courage is the heart of ALMA. Your journeys are the reasons this program exists. Your achievements reflect what is possible when opportunity meets determination and when Europe stands behind its young people. Together we have shown what ALMA initiative can achieve, and together we will continue to shape a future in which every young person has a chance to thrive. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lara. And as you say, it is about an opportunity for every young person to thrive. It can be a lifeline, but it can also be a transformative and life-changing process. So we're going to have a discussion not only about the results that have been achieved, but as some of our speakers have been saying, it's really important that we scale and nurture ALMA in the future. And of course, it's gone from that project that began in Germany to now the EU's flagship initiative, with 800 young people who benefited from that last EU-wide call. And the question, as we've been hearing from our speakers, is very much, how do we get more member states involved in this project, which really has results? So we would also like to hear from you, and there is a QR code which is here on slido.com. Do take a bit of time. I'm going to lead a discussion with some real experts, but we want to leave time for your questions. So I do hope that you will be able to write a few to us. While you do the technology, let me introduce our speakers. First of all, Ruth Passerman, Director of Funds, Programming and Implementation at DG Employment. Most probably easier that way. Ruth, come and sit next to me. Ruth is responsible for the ESF Plus and all calls launched under the Social Innovation Plus initiative, including that one in 2022. And it was... There we are, round of applause. And really that was to encourage member states to experiment. Now, Tomka Travnikova is from the Social Innovation Projects Unit, Ministry of Labour and Social Affairs. And Tomka is a very, very seasoned expert, because ALMA calls have been launched by the Ministry at national level since 2013, I think. So Tomka, if you want to know how this works, Tomka has the answers, I would say. No pressure there. Please, Anastasia Sashinudou, Head of Directorate for ALMPs and Systemic Interventions. That's at the Ministry of Labour and Social Security in Greece. And in fact, Greece, please take a seat, responded to that 2022 call and ran a pilot project. And finally, what I like to call the new kid on the block, Juan Pedro Barrero Caballero, who works for Arabal AID Spain. Now, Arabal is a project operator. Please, round of applause. Let's be fair. And in fact, they experimented as a result of this EU-level call. And we're going to hear how that experiment turned out and next steps. So let's begin. We've heard from our keynote speakers about the value, but let's get the perspectives of our speakers. Tomka, as I said, you're seasoned. You're a veteran, a very young veteran, but you've been with the ALMA project for 13 years. So what do you see as its value?
Well, to answer this question, I think I will have to go a little bit to the past.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just have to be honest. At the moment when I was listening to the first speeches, I was getting a bit nervous and I started sweating because most of the answers I was thinking I had in my head to answer the possible questions were already answered because the presentations were prepared, I think, very well without flaws. So
You've seen it.
Yes, I've seen it. I'm going to repeat. I'm sorry for that. I'm going to repeat and reiterate some of the facts you have already heard. Those ones that I think are the important. And going back to the value of ALMA and going back to the past, I have to say The ALMA started as, it wasn't even called ALMA at that time, it was, you heard it was called Integration durch Austausch in German. It started as a social innovation and a relatively small scale national program in Germany that tackled the problem of growing number inactive or unemployed youth. And it was so successful that brought in many member, not I wouldn't say many, but some member states, some ESF managing authorities were brought in. They created a network. That's very long time ago. It's 2013 or beginning of 14, so that's over 10 years ago now. We created a network to basically to improve the program, to make it scalable throughout Europe. And going back to the question, the highest or the best value of ALMA, in my eyes, is the network that stands behind it. Is the network of committed stakeholders that have a common goal of making Europe, the future Europe, better, to making Europe more inclusive by giving support to the future of Europe, which is the young generation. So that's the main value in my point of view.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a network that, as you say, has been going for, more than 10 years and a lot of value. Anastasia, you joined the project as a pilot project at national level. So for you, what have you seen as the value?
It was the first time we have implemented the ALMA under the EU level, and definitely for us we discovered that it was an opportunity for the young people to integrate in the labor market in a social innovative way and gain further knowledge and skills, leading to education or a training program at the time moment. So it's a high opportunity to improve their lives and to increase the social inclusion in our country also.
So you had 17 young people involved.
Yes.
And what would you say the ALMA project, what difference did it make to their lives?
They developed their hard skill, but as well as their soft skills. They boost their confidence, and by their experience living and working abroad, and so in that way they enhanced their personality.
Yeah, and that's what we've been hearing, haven't we? And some of the speakers said it's not just professional development, but it's personal development. And you saw that with the young people.
Exactly. We have example coming to my mind from George that he admitted that he improving his working team skills, his language skills, and that his experience abroad broadened his horizon because he saw how it's to live in another country. Particularly, he went in Germany, in Berlin, and at the end he said that this all experience make him more independent and feel more confident. That as soon as he come back to home, he found a job. This was very inspiring for us, for all the team, to believe and have to see the results of this effort.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not easy for any young person to move abroad, learn a new language. So, and we're going to hear from a lot of young people who have really very, very good stories to tell of that development. Juan Pedro, so as I said, you're the latest to the ALMA network, the ALMA family. Where do you see the value as a project operator?
Well, so I think it's that we could go to the young people directly. Like we don't have to wait for them to come to us, for example. We went to their neighborhood, high school, youth centers, looking for siblings, cousins, friends that would, let's say, benefit from the ALMA project.
Because indeed, we heard it from a number of speakers, didn't we? That these young people, they can fall through the cracks. They can be difficult to find. So you would even go to youth centres to find out who knows who knows. It was really sometimes investigative work, to find the right people.
Yes, exactly. And it's a hard work, but it's our job. So yes, basically it's to find them and give. Instead of they waiting to have opportunity, us bringing them the opportunity. And actually, you will have later on the chance to meet one of them, Jennifer, who is baking a special cake with a recipe for a successful ALMA project.
Oh, fantastic. A nice trail ahead to something sweet to listen to. So there's a lot of preparation, though, isn't there, for these young people before they embark on this journey? How do you build that confidence?
Yes, before mobility phase, we have a long preparation. So, for example, the whole group knew each other pretty well. That make them feel confident before taking the internship placement abroad, right? And that give them some tools, because, for example, nowadays, all of them are or working or doing university studies, or they are actively looking for a job. Before ALMA, they were unemployed, but doing absolutely nothing. Now they have the tools, they have the power to start looking for a job, doing an interview, prepare a CV, so they are, let's say, in the labor market actively looking, right? So.
Absolutely. And Tomka, listening to the experiences, what are your reflections?
Well, my reflections is that basically what was just said confirms that my view of the largest or highest value of ALMA is the network of committed stakeholders, because to have the impact, you don't only need the managing authorities that publish the calls, you also need experienced project operators that have access to the target group. And when all these stakeholders work together, something that happened in Spain, I think it's the same example how it works in Czechia and in other countries as well, then we can come up with a measure that really works. And let's call it ALMA, maybe. Let's call it by a different name. But to have all the stakeholders have to work in unison for the common goal of improving the situation of the young disadvantaged people that fell through the gate till now.
Ruth, listening to all of this, as somebody who actually launched the ALMA call, that must be really gratifying to hear from the managing authorities in the Czech Republic and in Greece and the project operators. So, yeah, where do you see the value from where you sit?
Yes, thank you very much. And it is, I then have to thank all my team who did all the work. I didn't do anything. But anyway, but it is very, from the beginning, really, we had, it was clear that this was a really great idea that we should support. Also on the basis of the existence, as was mentioned before, it was started already in 2008. But just to say, the most famous known brand of Europe is Erasmus, the Erasmus program, right? And what does the Erasmus program do in the beginning? It basically was about allowing university students to go to study abroad. And it has been a transformative experience for university students. And here comes the problem. Why only university students? So on one hand, we had this program only for university students. On the other hand, the European Social Fund has been investing a lot in getting people into work, in particular young people. Since 2013, we have the so-called Youth Guarantee, which is basically ensuring that all young people within 4 months of ending their education have an offer either of education or a job, etc. And so ALMA actually really came in this hole, if you see what I mean, in this gap between only university students can get to go abroad on one hand, and the support for young people with the with needs during the 2010 years was really a very big problem in Europe. And we thought, but these people usually have, it's not just that, they're really don't know what to do with their lives. And that is why the experience of going abroad is so transformative. I think that is really the key of the point, is that the experience allows you to find independence, to understand what you want to do with your life, and that once you have that, I'm not saying you can do everything. Of course, reality is also difficult, but it is transformative. And that, just like Erasmus was transformative, has been for a lot of university students, now we have a project which can also be transformative for the most vulnerable.
Absolutely. And as we heard, really addresses the needs of these young people. And I think we heard from Roxana that very high percentage in Romania, 1 in 5 young people, and 11% across Europe. So it's
But
really
it was between 20 and 30 in the 2010s. That 11% was double in the 2010s. So we have already improved. I don't know if because we have improved actively or just there are less young people. I don't know. I mean, I mean the proportion is on young people. So okay, but it is. We have been, I think, all of us collectively much more addressing the issue of youth unemployment during this period. And okay, we are still youth unemployment is still double of overall unemployment. So we're still in the not there yet, but things have improved, yes.
Yeah. And so, absolutely. So we've got to think about what are the success factors? How do we expand and scale? Tomke, how do we go from where we are to meeting the need? Because as we also heard from one of the speakers, there's so much need out there and we've only got so much capacity. How do we move up a gear?
Okay, there are many factors that actually contribute to the success of ALMA, but I want to, before I answer that, I will get I think back to your previous question and to what was just said. I think one of the factors of the success of ALMA in the past was, or the idea behind the ALMA that was still, I think we didn't mention it, there was not only a large number of young unemployed people, like talk about Germany because we started in Germany, but the problem was it was a group of young people that basically was not reachable by the standard employment measures at that time. Because of course there were many people that for whose the standard employment measures, maybe some quick retraining or whatever, were just enough to get back on the labor market. But there was a very large group that didn't benefit from these measures, and someone's very great idea at that time was, many of us went through Erasmus programs when we were younger, so we knew about the benefits, and that's why we decided someone very, I was a visionary person in Germany.
Great
I don't know who that was. I think Bettina, Sasha, or someone else could answer that question. But there was a person in Germany that decided, or had the idea, we're going to offer the same or similar opportunity, not only to students, but those disadvantaged, and it showed it worked. And now going back to your current question, there are several things I said. I mentioned the network. I mentioned also I have to, and that was mentioned, there is a great support from the European Commission as well, that we are grateful, and that helps a lot. But the main factor is that ALMA really works. I think it's true. It's quite expensive measure. It's not the cheapest measure. If you do the math, it's like seeing just the cost of the project. It's quite expensive per person. But if you count the long-term results, then it becomes really not really cheap, but on the same amount as other cheaper employment measures at the first instance. And the results speaks for themselves. We have data from our evaluations that shows that the increased new employment rate within the group of past ALMA participants. We have heard about the increase of self-awareness. We have about the self-esteem, soft skills, and everything like that. All the reports, all the evaluations show very high increase in this situation of the young person. And one thing that was also mentioned, I think it was Ulrika Hall who mentioned that it was quite surprising for us, and it's at the moment, I think in the current situation in Europe, is very important as well, is the increased Europeanship within the people, the European awareness to see that Europe, being in Europe, has benefits. And for the group we are talking about, they usually don't consider Europe as a benefit, or the United Europe as a benefit. So for them it opens their eyes. And I think for the future, I was talking before about the future of the Europe, it's very important. And these factors are those that bring the new members, new managing authorities, new stakeholders in, that they see it really works and it's usable measure.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yes, they're building European young citizens who understand European identity and values.
Exactly.
Absolutely. In Greece, you had a national pilot project. You experimented, Anastasia, as a result of the EU level call, and now you're going to develop another project. So you are in fact expanding it in your own way. I mean, what led you to take that step? Why did you decide we're going to go from pilot to actually developing our own ALMA within the national ESF?
In one word, the pilot convinced us about the result of ALMA. So we had great results from our external evaluation that showed that the participants expressed their satisfaction from their experience participated in the ALMA project, and that had benefit from this experience of living abroad. And so some of them, as I said before, admitted that play a decisive role in changing their life. So that means that we have very good soft outcome results. So we wanted to integrate that in our national program with cooperation with the managing authority, and we're preparing the scaling up in 3 new regions, and maybe that week or next week we have the representative from the managing authority here that we're launching our call, and after this experience we expect to roll out all over the country.
Brilliant. And Juan Pedro, you had a successful pilot project, and you've managed to convince the regional authority in Andalusia to take on the next project. I mean, tell us your recipe for success, the cake you baked to get the regional governor to invest. What did you say to him or her?
So our recipe basically patient and time. But yes, it has been a process about 10 years somehow, because obviously they said we will launch, we will do it, we will write it, but then nothing happens until recently. And yes, we basically try to involve all of them in all of our events that we have organized, so they can meet directly the young people there. And because we found that the process went much quicker when they somehow know their realities, their stories, their potential, right? And yes, finally, apparently we made it successfully. Last month, they launched the ALMA Andalucía call, and actually last week they opened the call for all of the entities that want to apply for it. So I just want to say thank you to all of the people from Junta Andalucía for finally make this thing real.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? That it becomes real for people when it's not just statistics of unemployed or not in training, but they can see the person and the potential. It's that human element.
Exactly. Like, for example, one of our regional minister, she was really engaged, coming to several events that we have organized, and she was talking to our TV channels, newspaper about the project. So all of that after meet in person on site some of our participants. So as I said, they could meet, they could know their realities and the potential of the call.
Ruth, I think Tomka alluded to it, that it's a relatively expensive program, but it has long-term benefits. I mean, how are you assessing the results of that EU-level call so far?
So just to clarify a little bit, the Commission money is organized through multi-annual financial frameworks every 7 years. So in the period 21-27, we launched a new thing for social innovation. And the goal was, because we were already doing call for proposal, but basically for experimentation, but this new idea was how to focus on scaling and transferring of innovations that worked. So ALMA, which then was called something else, as the previous speaker said, was a typical, very good example of something that had worked and would make sense to transfer and innovate and upscale. So this is why we did the European call, and at the same time, so when I say European call, it means the money is financed directly from the European Commission. And at the same time, we also pushed the managing authority of the European Social Plus to implement through their funds, if you see the funding. So, so what we are now assessing is how much our core worked, but for us it is also a factor of success how many regional or national authorities have decided to take up this with their funds, right? So, as I said before, about 80% of young people say that it's like a transformative experience, or let's say enormous increase in soft skills in evaluation words. About 2/3 of those that follow the whole program are reintegrated in the labor market or in training, which is quite high for these kind of things. And we have now 5 or 6 member states, wait, I need to look at the numbers. 5 member states have already translated or are translating projects results into, so mainstreaming, if you want. And also to catch up with some of the things that were said, the ALMA network itself has proved extremely valuable, because this network contains both the projects which are financed by the European Commission, but also the ones that are coming from the national level, and also countries which are not yet doing it, but they learn from the others. So I think this is really very important. So the whole system, we have created a whole system that works in its whole thing.
Excellent. There's lots of questions coming in, and I'm going to take them, but I'm just going back to our speakers for the sort of last word, because yes, it's great that we've heard from Ruth that there is so much more interest from member states, but how do we get even more member states involved? Perhaps a last key message, Juan. I'm looking at you, so we'll start with you. You've had great success going up to the Andalusian regional level. But yes, what's your message to member states who are perhaps thinking, shall we, shan't we?
Well, so one idea is to basically make easier the process, for example, for project operators, like by standardizing the process or the requirements, because sometimes politicians or managing authorities, they don't have the time to read the full project or to be involved. We already talk about, we hear about the packed agendas because we are human beings. So yes, one idea is to standardize everything for all of the national ALMAs.
Yeah, to make it even easier for them. Yes, and Anastasia.
Yes, I agree with Juan also. ALMA is a small climate project with high cost but huge personal and social impact. And I strongly believe that deserve to be implemented, and the network could play a crucial role as it played for our cases. For example, it would be valuable that our participation is in the network, so the other member state can encourage inspiring of our events, exchange ideas, and of course the results of our evaluation and the focus on soft outcomes could play a crucial role as a tool for evaluating the results and the benefits of ALMA, and the perspective for the young needs in every country, with the support, of course, of the European Commission.
Yeah. Tomka, yes, a message to a member state that's on the fence or hesitating. What would you say to them?
Well, the quick answer would be, don't be scared, don't worry, take the plunge and join the network, because the network is there to support you. But thinking about it in a little bit broader view, I think we have, as a network, we have the knowledge, we have all the positive data to prove that ALMA works. But thinking about the lay the broader view post-2027 period and continuing with ALMA as well. I think one of the factors is we as a network, I think you can see that, we are very excited about ALMA, we are passionate, but as a network we can only go as far. We need a continuous support from the European Commission to bring in the hesitating managing authorities, to convince them, and especially thinking about how it's going to be done in the next period. I think we don't have time to discuss that in detail, and no one knows exactly how it's going to be financed, but thinking about the managing authorities that are thinking about implementing ALMA within their national programs, to convince them to implement or to include ALMA in their national and regional partnership programs, and to finance it, not to rely on someone else publishing to call for them, but basically continue with the implementation or start with the implementation even within the new programming period. So we will need support, clear and loud support from the Commission, I think, to do that, to stand behind the ALMA, because if that drops, I don't see the, without that, I don't see the future of ALMA very brightly, unfortunately. Maybe I'm mistaken, maybe it depends from country to country, but I think without the support, we won't reach that far. Of course, as a network, we have like Plan B, and we have some other options we are going to talk about in just a moment, and it was already mentioned in several of the speeches, thinking about the Erasmus, but we will talk about it in just a moment.
So Tomka was looking at you, Ruth. There we are. You're the one who's going to ensure that it continues, it scales, it's nurtured, and there's more member states.
You give me too much power. So, indeed, we are now negotiating the new financial framework for the period 2028-2034, which introduces quite a lot of changes. But for me, so let me start with the most important thing now, which I think it is indeed that managing authorities actually implement ALMA, because the whole idea of social innovation is that it is, I mean, as I said, it's about upscaling and transferring, that it becomes finally mainstreamed and included everywhere. So the point, if you know, that it was also would make its strength, that it is quite widespread across Europe. And then we will, I don't know, what I really cannot say whether the Commission will do another ALMA call at the European level. Maybe, but I don't, it wouldn't be for another couple of years, I mean, because it would be in the new framework, so in 2028. On the other hand, I think that I see the need of the support of the network, so I think if I had to prioritize, I would prioritize giving support to the network, which can be done with which would continue to work on including all the regions where or countries which are using which are actually implementing ALMA, and of course the ones which are not yet implementing. So if that's how I would play it, let's say, in the future. Now, for the moment, just to be clear, everything that is currently being financed by the Commission could be financed in the next round. So that is not a problem. The problem is the question of prioritization each time, you know, which countries, how country or regional authorities decide to spend the money. So.
Okay, so let's go to the many questions that are up there and we can all see in front of us. So, and I'll just raise your hand if you want to answer. We don't have to have everybody answering them. What would you recommend for new countries hesitating to announce ALMA under shared management? Yes, Tomka, go for that one.
I will repeat what I already
said. You have to have a buzzer.
Yeah. Contact the network, and we will give you as much support as we can to give you all the information you will need to publish. Thinking to you as a managing authority, we will give you as much support as we can and all the information. So do that.
One, were you going for a buzzer and lost out?
If you want, I can.
Okay.
No, yes, I share the same as Tonka, but also, yes, trying to involve all the network as much as you can. As I said, sometimes it's not possible because of the time, but call them, write to them, post things on social media, regional TV, newspaper, whatever you can, because at some point they will see the result because people will talk about it. So try to invite not only just the, let's say, sometimes it's not just the highest politician position, but sometimes a governor, a mayor, you know, little by little.
Absolutely, yeah. Greatest challenges in implementing ALMA, and in fact this afternoon with many of the project operators we're going to look and do a deep dive into the challenges, which will be honest and frank, but yes, perhaps each person. Yeah, Anastasia.
I can say from the ministry side, for example, the challenges that we have to build the ecosystem around the ALMA. For us, because it was the first time under the pilot, so we have to find the project, the national project operator, to have the transnational partnerships, and to be the right people that they know to work with this target group. So all these challenges, and one big challenge we address was to find the reaching out of the target group, because in Greece, for example, they were not familiarized with this kind of project. So for them to take participation in this kind of this target group, not as Erasmus, that the student know what they're going and they like to do, but this target group was very difficult for them to decide to leave their country, their home, and to go abroad. So also the public employment services, nobody knows about that, and there was a fear and a doubt about this kind of project. So to build, as I said, the ecosystem about this kind of project, it needs the job, and the pilot helps. That's why we are piloting again in one region, in the same region that we have the pilot, because we would like to make this comparison. Now we prefer the field and see how to be better the situation of all these challenges we address.
Yeah, you've got to map and identify the right project operators, yes, who are not used for that. Was that something, Tomka, was a challenge when you first set out back in 2013?
I completely agree with what Anastasia said. I think, and it's still privileged. Of course, we have some project operators that we know. We can choose the right project operators, but the main obstacle for us as managing authority was to find the right project operators who were able to source the right target group, who didn't go just for the easiest ones, like in the creaming effect to fulfill the indicators, but who are really able to help the target group. And that's continuous, I think, obstacle from the point of view of managing authority, to find the right project operators, to select the right projects for realization.
And I'm just wondering, from project operator point of view, is it a challenge working with the managing authorities?
Obviously, yes. But yes, I was actually about to say and remark that I totally agree with what Tomka said, because sometimes it's not about the high cost about the project itself, but it's more about to find a right project operator, not just, not focus on filling documentation and do the schedule
ticking
exactly a task. It's also about to, as always says the same, humanize the process, because we are working with human beings, right? So yes, it was a challenge, but the challenge that you need to face with patience, and obviously from the point of view that we need to understand that somehow and when we were young also, with difficulties, with problems to find a job, with no experience. So we cannot forget about that when you are a project operator, and you cannot expect a big result in one day.
Ruth, anything to say about a challenge? I'm sure you have many.
No, well, for me, actually, it's the hardest to say, because I'm the farthest away from the actually on the ground, from the people that are here. But so one challenge is indeed not to be so far away, in the sense that it's very, unfortunately, European Commission procedures are always super complicated, and this reverberates down to the project operators also on all the administrative burden, which I'm sure exists. So we want to reduce this administrative burden for the future, not only for ALMA projects overall. I'm not so confident, I tell you the truth, which is because it's difficult. But
less bureaucracy, less red tape. We've
yes,
somehow
we try.
heard that before
But
in
exactly,
Europe.
that is why I'm not so confident, because I'm not young. But it really is, I think, an issue. And like, for example, you mentioned the issue of standardization of processes in the national level. I think there is some work possible on simplification and standardization that we also could contribute to. And I think that would go for the benefit of the whole chain. Yeah.
There's a number of questions. I'm not going to take them in order because I'm really interested in that one about how do you encourage young people to participate in the project, because you touched on this, Juan Pedro, but you reached out to the schools, to the youth centres, but perhaps you get an awful lot of, really? Do I have to? I mean, you know, what is your killer argument? Or do you find that you've got so many young people that you actually have to be really selective about which ones?
To be honest, 50-50. Because
Right.
it is true that we have so many candidates, but it's not always that you have so many candidates and they participate. Because sometimes you have the selected one and they want to drop out because any reason, personal life, whatever. So there's not just like a specific idea to get them involved, but trying to individualize each personality. Some of them are scared because of the language, as some of my colleagues commented, so we need to work on that. Like, okay, you are not going to die for learn a new language or try to use a translator. Others is just because they don't feel comfortable, for example, sharing a house. So we need to work on that topic to share a house, to be an adult, right?
Do you sometimes have to also convince the parents?
Yes. Actually, in our preparation phase, we have a workshop with the families, because sometimes this is a, a bullet point. Sometimes the parents try to make the decisions for the sons and daughters when they are over 18 years old. So you need to convince the parents that they will be okay, that they are adults and they will be independent abroad, that nothing bad can happen. And yes, sometimes it's just like a lack of information. So we work with them to explain everything really well.
Absolutely. So ALMA's flexibility to be adapted to different contexts. So which key elements of ALMA need always to be present? Who wants to take that one? Anastasia.
I think that the soft outcomes that the participant can gain from this experience, it's not the work-related experience only, but the whole situation that they are going to living in another country and get in touch with other people, leave their comfort zone, giving them another opportunity. It's very important for their independency, and I find it very good an element that the structure of the ALMA. They always have counseling and guidance. Even in the stage that they're in the mobility stage, they have their guidance, and those can keep the balances when they have and overcome their difficulties. So in this way, and this is an incentive also to participate in the ALMA, that they're going abroad, they're going to see something different.
Yeah. Please, Tomka and then Ruth.
Okay, I will just add to that what was said. Yeah, it's all true, but I think it's the individual approach, and the young people, the participants, have to feel like you are there for them, because all the aspects that we're mentioning, you have to talk to family. In some cases, you have to explain, which is like for us, it's unbelievable. But you have to explain their parents that there is going to have a benefit to their child, actually, to let them go abroad and spend some time abroad. For many of the children, it's the first time they went abroad. Maybe not even abroad, but even to some of them, in considering the Czech aspect, they weren't into Prague yet in their 20 years of age. So those people we are sending abroad. So there has to be individual approach, continuous support, and throughout all the phases of the project. And the young people have to feel safe, like you are there for them. So we have to allow them some room to breathe, to experience, to gain the self-confidence of being abroad, maybe as a first person in their family going abroad. But they have to have the safe net in a form of a mentor, of some kind of a project employee who is there with them and can look after them if when it's not needed. That's the most important thing.
Ruth, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, I just want to say that the ALMA project is built on these three phases, and they are all three essential. You have to have the preparatory phase, otherwise, well, the colleagues have just described, otherwise these young people will be completely lost. You have to have the phase abroad. That's part of the program, and that's part of the discovering of the independence and self-worth also, and what do I want to do with my life. That's really important. Indeed, for people which usually have not been traveling abroad, and sometimes not even across their countries. And then also, just as important is the phase when you come back. It's not the end of the story when you come back. There is a follow-up phase. And I think that is also very important because you need to reintegrate into the reality that you left, yeah. So indeed, the mentors and the accompanying throughout the three phases is also very important. But I think the three phases is what makes the project ALMA.
Yeah, so as we say, it's not one phase. But coming back to you, Juan Pedro, you talked about the preparatory phase, then there is the exciting phase. And yeah, how do you ensure follow-up? Because is that where there's a bit of a reality check? One, reintegrating, as Ruth says, back into their lives and their communities. Are they the same person that they were before they left? And also there's time, perhaps, before they can find training or a job. So how do you manage that phase?
So basically you can find two ways. Some of them, they already have some idea what they want to do after return to the country, or they have some offers to apply. They already know what university degree they want to take. Like they are more decide, right? So in that aspect, you can just follow them, guide them through the whole process, and somehow that's all. But then you have the other, let's say, harder way, then they are still lost. They have those abilities, those skills to prepare, for example, a CV, to go for a job interview, but they don't know where to find, how to do it, or what to ask, for example. So the guidance could be basically on-site interviews, online interviews, calls, video calls. You can have a chat on WhatsApp, even weekly
So you've got
meetings.
to keep that motivation going. And how long is that follow-up phase?
In our case, we wrote the project for a 2-month follow-up phase. But in our case, we continued through the time until our national final event. So
yeah, you
yes,
want, as you say, you really want to keep their spirits high. Tomka.
Yeah, and thinking about, I know I've seen a lot of ALMA programs, a lot of disadvantaged mobility programs. So I know sometimes the follow-up phase is omitted. In some cases, the project operators make it too short. Our requirement in our check call, it's not requirement, it's recommendation, but the follow-up phase, after the experience we have already published 3 calls, it's to be at least 4 months. And of course, in relevant cases, sometimes the person can get a job straight after their return from abroad. But in some cases, when these people have like more obstacles and more difficulties, are more disadvantaged, it can take up to 6 months. They have to go through another training, maybe extensive language training to help them, whatever. So we recommend at least 4 months for the follow-up phase.
A great flow of questions coming in. I think that was just a comment that we've got at the end, that yes, they're not children. We've got to empower them as young adults, and I'm sure that's what you do in the first phase. I had seen, because I think we've discussed ALMA such a success, unless anybody disagrees, please raise your hand. But there was a question that was specifically for Tomka, I saw. Did you see it, Tomka? Because it came and it went. Are there? What 3 most important elements are missing to encourage more member states to join ALMA, the ALMA family, and launch the call? Okay, the great rule of 3 here. Tomka.
That is a very difficult question. When I read it, I was happy it disappeared. But now it's,
well, you can help. The family can help you.
So maybe you can help me. Like the important element, we were talking about the standardization, like from the point from the project operators to a managing authority to have clear set of rules. And I was praising European Commission for their support, and as a form of support, they created a delegated act with. Well, they try to simplify it. They create an off-the-shelf solution. And Lucrezia is now she's waiting what I'm going to say about it.
Well, at least
she's freezing now.
The will was there to simplify.
No, I'm saying the willingness was there, but it's somehow for many reasons we're not going to work about it. It didn't work out as it was intended. The willingness was there, the idea was great. I think we need, like Erasmus has a clear set of rules that is evolved over the years. They have the financing cost options, the simplified cost financing, using the different types of simplified cost financing for different activities of the project. And we try to do that for ALMA, which was a very great intention, but I think we didn't have time really to set it up properly, and it didn't work out as well as it was intended. And I think one of the elements is to have something like that, to have a standardization for all the countries. It could be done through implementing ALMA into Erasmus. It could be done by maybe creating a new delegated act or whatever. I'm just making things up at the moment. But to have something like that done, that would definitely bring in more countries in.
Yeah, standardization, harmonization in the ALMA family. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you for all of those questions. I just see one, and I see we've got 3 minutes left on this panel. It's like a broadcast show. So perhaps just for Juan, there we are. That's an interesting anonymous one. How do you deal with those young people who don't want to go back to their country after their ALMA training? Sorry to lead on a negative note, but it's sort of fascinating. Yeah.
Yes, that's actually a reality. Some of them, they want to remain in the foreign country.
Yes.
And, well, you need not to fight, but, to dialogue a lot with them.
Yes.
The point of view that we use is not like you need to go back to our country just forever. Just come back, you will finish the project, and you will see if this is just the expectation of the moment of the program, or if your new reality. It is true that some of them, after some months, they go abroad to work, but also most of them, they remain in the country like, okay, now I know what I want, and I want to do the same that I was doing in the foreign country, but I'm doing in my home country. So a lot of dialogue and somehow bringing them the reality, because this is another paperwork to work in another country. It's a long process.
First step, and then you can
Exactly.
go back to Germany or wherever. Tomka.
I just want to add that it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't happen, this situation doesn't happen as often as you would expect. I think we didn't have, within the 3 finished calls, now we published the 4th one recently, the projects will start realization in next year. I think we didn't have a single person that stayed abroad without contacting without finishing the project first. Of course, they were offered like job placements in places when they were taking the traineeships, but all of them returned back to Czech Republic, back home, and the project operators, and I said that shows again the involvement of the project operators. The project operators help them to settle things like maybe finish the leases for their accommodation, things like that, help them provide information about relocation abroad again. So several people went abroad, but they finished the project first. So we didn't have a single example, I think, of a person staying abroad after finishing the stay abroad phase.
Okay. Well, thank you for the great questions there. And this afternoon, you can ask more great questions to project operators. around the EU. Thank you, Juan Pedro, project operator, who's managed to convince the Andalusian regional authorities. Well done. Thank you. Round of applause. And I'll ask you to leave the stage. Ruth, thank you for giving us an overview of where you're at and for your thoughts. I won't press you too much on standardization.
No, I think it's a good point.
So a round of applause for Ruth. Thank you. And I'm leaving the two managing authority representatives, Anastasia and Tomka, on the panel because, yes, we do want to speak about what's next. And there is a proposal for a draft position paper on the ALPA network and what could happen post-2027. And Tomka and Anastasia are members of the ALMA steering group, but we've also got in the audience, welcome Sasha Peel, Policy Officer and Fund Programme Manager of the Federal Ministry of Labour and Social Affairs of Germany, indeed, the country that gave birth to IDA and then ALMA. So you're going to explain the proposal and then a couple of questions to both Tomka and Anastasia before we break for coffee.
Thank you, Claire. Yeah, thank you and good morning from my side. Yes, so since the future is now, and now is the future coming, and I have already the ground prepared by many of the speakers before. So I will shortly explain what's in the proposal of a draft. It's still a draft. It still had to be discussed in the ALMA network, where Anastasia, Tomke, and me are part of the steering group. Working with the Commission and the ESFA on the ALMA initiative, so on all parts of what was created since many years, since my ministry started with IDA, and we want, of course, to take up this promise, like you were saying, Ulrika, in your speech, and it was more than just a promise, it was also kind of a vision, because for the participants it should be a promise, but also for our societies, so they become a more integrated part of our societies and also have this opportunity to go abroad and have learning opportunities for a certain time, getting engaged with other Europeans, get this European experience like we have also in Erasmus+. We always seen, also before it became ALMA, this kind of initiative or program as complementary to Erasmus+. And that's why in the center of our proposition paper, we have this recommendation, clear recommendation. That's what Roxana Minciato was saying in her speech. We need a bit out of the box thinking, and we think, yeah, it's maybe the time to take ALMA out of its box of the ESF+. And because ALMA was also presented as by my state secretary as the daughter of Ida, which was her mother, and of unknown father. Sorry, I cannot tell you who was the father of Ida. Maybe you, Bettina, can. It's not me, neither. Because maybe we all, the parents.
It's a modern family.
Exactly, it's a modern family patchwork. Yes. And now it's time to ALMA to go out of her home, maybe to get adult. We were her tutors here in the ALMA network. It was the school of ALMA, and now she has to grow up and become independent on her own, maybe with new rules and old friends again on her side. And that's why we think future, it's about adaptation to change, and we see changes at the horizon. We see also changes for European Social Fund at the horizon with the proposal. Thank you, Ruth, for explaining what a multi-annual financial framework is on the EU budget. Now it's became technical. Sorry for that, but in fact, it has to it has to do with the post-2027 financial framework, where we see that for the ESF Plus, it will become part of something new that it's unknown, that was not there before, that will cover a lot of different policies and will have also to address new priorities like defense or competitiveness and migration and security, and therefore social will become smaller, will also have their allocation reduced. The ESF Plus will not have a standalone allocation in the multi-annual framework. It will become part of national and regional partnership plans where the government will have to stick to a reform agenda with milestones and targets, and where we see the risk for our target group of creaming effects because of this new performance-oriented framework. I know I'm long and I'm saying...
So it's about integrating it into Erasmus+.
It is exactly that, because it is seen, Tomke was speaking about all the rules that are in common and that we took over from Erasmus+. And we see this synergy really on the ground, that already this national agency working for Erasmus Plus are doing quite the same that we are doing when we have to send abroad our participant. Of course, we need to transplant the whole ecosystem in a way in Erasmus Plus so it becomes doable in the Erasmus Plus world. And we will have to see in our proposal, in a concrete proposal, where it could be part of it in the learning mobility or in the youth mobility, where Erasmus Plus is already integrating new parts with the European Solidarity Corps or Discover EU, and we see clearly a potential to create with Erasmus Plus a common umbrella and for all youth-related EU measures related to mobility. And ALMA initiatives will be a part of it, creating a single entry point for all young people in whole Europe. That was the point about the ALMA initiative, to create this opportunity for all Europeans. And there is a risk that it's not possible anymore with the ESF Plus in the future because of the new priorities.
So it's putting it under the same umbrella, and Erasmus Plus, of course, is giving young people opportunities to live and study.
Especially for the needs that were absent from the mobility schemes, and giving them also the possibility to acquire new skills and get engaged and coming back to their countries with a new feeling of belonging and empowerment, like we are already doing. The future is already happening now. We will just see more security for the sustainability and the visibility of ALMA into Erasmus Plus than it is now the case with the ESF Plus.
Okay, so Sasha seems convinced. What about you, Anastasia? What advantages do you see of integrating ALMA into the Erasmus Plus and this whole umbrella of European youth-led programs?
As we work in the position paper, it is presented the advantages of integrated ALMA in Erasmus in a bullet. To clarify them, first of all, it's a good strengthen Erasmus inclusion dimension. Over the year, Erasmus program become more inclusive and offering additional opportunity in the new target group. So the integration of the ALMA in the Erasmus Plus could align perfectly with the first priority of Erasmus to promote equal opportunity and action, inclusion and diversity. Secondly, it would be the visibility and the recognition, because Erasmus has an appeal to the young organization and member state that could help ALMA to be the next success story of the Erasmus. In the integration, we are going to avoid the fragmentation of the FAUD. Mm-hmm. And also Erasmus provides the opportunity to ALMA because of multi-year programming and established network with the wider European participation. Synergy and efficiency, as Sasha already mentioned, how, for example, to manage the mobility, the recognition of competence, the quality assurance, and reducing the duplication. it is the quality and the portability, the alignment with the Erasmus tools like Europass and the European Qualification Framework, enhance the learning outcomes of the participant. And of course, there is a policy alignment because integrated ALMA in the EU priorities on youth employment, social inclusion, active citizenship. So all of these are complementary with the European Pillar of Social Rights. Integrated ALMA in the Erasmus will have long-term benefits because reducing the fiscal budget of the member state, fostering employability and social inclusion, and giving the opportunity for the participants to involved in the economical, social, and cultural life of their country and, of course, of the Europe.
Yeah, as you say, it's inclusive and it's under this umbrella of Erasmus, which is a brand that is really known in the EU. Yes. So, Tomke, there we are. You've been involved in ALMA since 2013. What do you see as the challenges of integrating ALMA into Erasmus+?
Yes, we have heard all the positive things. Now it's up to me to bring us a little bit down to earth again. I'm sorry for that. No, of course there are obstacles. They are thinking the first one, the simpler one, I think it's the standardization we were talking about before. I think because of all the activities within ALMA has to be nice, like long-term mentoring. It's the possibility of training or retraining, qualification and requalification courses, things like that for the participants. It's the counseling, extensive counseling, psychological support for the participants when they need it, and other things that are not currently reflected in the simplified cost options used by Erasmus. So that would have to be amended. It's fixable, of course, but if we stay in the field of money and spending money, I'm in close touch with the Czech Erasmus National Agency because of several projects, and I was talking to them about it, and it's true that the Erasmus budget is going to be increased by 50% in the next programming period as compared to this programming period, which means a lot of money, thinking about euros, but it's not, according to them, it's not enough to finance all the activities they would like, even without ALMA being implemented or integrated into Erasmus. Sasha was mentioning the Social Solidarity Corps, the Discover EU. Maybe we can talk about the non-formal partnership programs within Erasmus. Erasmus has changed over the years and has become more open, more inclusive. It's not as inclusive as ALMA, and I think the Erasmus people are quite happy that we have a similar program that is financed from the employment strand rather than from the education strand that currently finances the Erasmus. So we will have to go into discussions and talk not only European level but also the local, national level, thinking the national agencies and things like that, and explain the benefits. And again, I was thinking about offering the support of the network to interested member states. We have to offer the same support to the national agencies if it comes through and ALMA will be integrated into Erasmus, which makes sense. I did mention that for me to have a common umbrella, it would be nice, it would be beneficial, and we have been thinking about the synergies and discussing the synergies between ALMA and Erasmus for many years.
So it's a nice idea, but of course the how and the practicalities and making sure that all the benefits, all the critical success factors that we discussed are still there and it's not watered down or diluted in any way.
Exactly.
Okay, so Sasha, where does this proposal go next? Who discusses it?
It's now really up to us as ALMA Network to spread the word and to discuss it with our stakeholders and partners and friends and to enrich this position paper. I think we have here also direct beneficiaries of ALMA and on participants, and I think there perspective on it is also really valuable and would enrich also the paper, also to as they are part of the ALMA network in a way, with the core group, the extended group of possible member states launching calls, but also the projects. I think that should be also participating maybe to this proposal. But in fact, since it's related to the next multi-annual financial framework, which is already now negotiated, it is intended to be a position paper for the negotiation process. So it has to go not only to the colleague from the Commission that are responsible for the ALMA initiative in the social innovation initiative of the European Social Fund, but it has to go to the colleagues of the Director General responsible for Erasmus+, and of course to all the member states who are the co-legislators. And we know that this negotiation process will end with the European Parliament as the other co-legislators deciding on the future. And so we have to bring it to our member of parliaments. And this is also what you can do when you have contacts and no deputies and so on, to bring this proposal to concrete. So we have people that know more about ALMA. You have to bring ALMA to the people and bring the people to ALMA.
And so your call really is for the audience today to come up and talk to you and Tomka and Anastasia to get their input into it. And then you've got a year to go through all of those
that's
stages.
why I was saying the future is now. Now is the future. Now. It's really up. It's not in the coming years. Yes. Now it's really an opportunity.
To get ministers and parliamentarians and everybody involved to ensure that there is a future of ALMA. And we have heard that it really is an initiative that works. After coffee, we're going to hear more about the results of the EU level call. But you heard that magic word, coffee, and it's 11:30. So let's take 30 minutes and see everybody back here at 12. Thank you, Anastasia, Tomka, and Sasha.
All right, welcome back. And thank you for being here. Yes, I think it is a good idea to have an applause before we start. Brilliant. Hope you have enjoyed the morning part. And now we are at a section called Driving Progress Together, the ALMA EU level call results. And in this session, we have two speakers. And if there's time, there may be some space for questions and answers. That is to say, you can ask some questions. The first speaker, hold on, before I introduce the speaker, I need to say this. Under the ALMA EU level call, 28 projects were implemented in 10 member states between 2023 and 2025. Those projects supported, as you've heard, 800 youth and 170 organizations across Europe. To present the key outcomes and achievements, I am delighted to give the floor to the head of the project management group at the European Competence Center for Social Innovation, Migle Alexonite. Please give her a warm welcome. Warmer, warmer, warmer. Don't stop until she's at the lectern. Go on. All right, go for it.
Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here. So dear honorable guests, dear our colleagues from the European Commission, project operators, and of course, young people who took courage to come here and to participate in this event. Thank you so much for you all for being here. I would like to mention that December is actually a significant month for all of us being here. Exactly 3 years ago, in December, we announced this important call under our Social Innovation Plus initiative, the ALMA EU level call, which results we are celebrating now. Exactly 2 years ago in Milan, we congratulated the members of the ALMA network and you, our dear project operators, on the start of your projects. I remember very well mentioning during that special meeting that you were the first, that you were very important, and this always remains so under this initiative. And now in December 2025, we meet again to celebrate the results of our mutual work. And let us take a brief look at where we started and where we are now. In spring 2023, we received 34 applications, of which 28 projects were selected and launched at the end of that year. 11 million euros were allocated to these projects, and today we are very proud to share that more than 800 participants have taken part in these activities. And we will have the honor of meeting and hearing from some of the most courageous ones of them today in a very quick moment. During this period, 9 mutual learning events were organized to strengthen the competences of project operators. Most of those events were developed with a significant input from the ALMA network members and experts. And of course, with the European Commission that guided us through these 3 years of implementation of the projects. It was already mentioned that more than 170 organizations from 15 EU countries contributed to this important mission. Here you can see the numbers of projects submitted from 10 EU countries, while the implementation of the projects took place in 5 more European Union countries. The top 3 young people sending countries, and surprisingly, were Spain, Italy, and Poland, as they submitted most of the projects. And here is probably the main result and the key achievement of our call. According to the data from projects that have already submitted their final reports, almost 67% of participants, those who participated in all 3 ALMA phases, meaning preparation, mobility, and follow-up, found employment or returned to education after participating in ALMA projects. This is our greatest aspiration and the goal that guides all our efforts. I would also like to highlight that in initiatives such as ALMA, the results sometimes take slightly longer to fully materialize, with many participants returning to education or employment several months after they complete their activities and after the projects officially end. In conversations with project operators, we learned that several individuals reintegrated into work and education after the reporting period has closed. These cases do not appear here in the final results, yet they clearly demonstrate that lasting and transformative impact that ALMA has on participants' lives. These are the major transformative outcomes identified in ALMA project's impact evaluation, of which you will hear very soon from the next presenter in a more detail. Please allow me to underline the most important ones. Personal development. 92% of respondents, which is nearly 400 individuals, believe that ALMA enhanced their personal development, self-esteem, social skills, and their ability to adapt to new environments. Future career perspective. Almost 84% report being better prepared for their career. They feel that ALMA experience empowered them for the job market and increased their confidence in their future professional pathway. This clearly demonstrates that the mobility dimension in ALMA projects is essential, giving participants the strength, inner strength, confidence in their abilities, and a transformative sense of self-perception. European identity. Almost 78% feel more European after their participation and have a better understanding of how our European Union impacts citizens' lives, because ALMA enabled them to experience this personally. This call had 2 objectives. to scale out ALMA projects across the EU, of course, and we all know that. And equally important, there was a second goal, to encourage member states to announce ALMA calls in their own countries. This has proven successful as well. 5 member states, Greece, Slovakia, Malta, Spain, its 2 regions, and Italy, 1 region, have already launched or plan to launch the national or regional ALMA calls under their shared management programs. Portugal and Romania are also moving forward to this direction, which we strongly support and wish it to continue so. But there is another important result that is not captured in these slides or reports, and that is the warm, professional, and truly supportive collaboration we have built together during these 3 years with the European Commission, the ALMA network, and project operators. The experience we have gained and the spirit of partnership we have fostered offer a strong foundation for continuing our work and spreading these achievements more broadly. This moment offers us a unique opportunity to advance our shared ambitions and uphold the fundamental values of Europe. Let's seize this moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Migle, for sharing these results that every contributor to ALMA can be very proud of. Now, there's also an external evaluation of the ALMA project. So it is not just us blowing their own trumpets, but someone from the outside telling you it's a fantastic project. And this is to assess the impact and the lessons learned. And it's carried out by the Smart Continent Management Institute of Lithuania. And to speak on their behalf, I invite to the floor Edvinas Bulevičius. Please give him a warm welcome. Now let's hope he's as positive as Migle.
Yeah, I hope so. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with so many people that care about the future. And so my mission today is to present some insights from the evaluation we have carried out. And so Smart Continent Management Institute, we were recruited to make the evaluation 3 months ago. So we have almost final results that I will share with you. And so my content, firstly, I will present shortly the methodology and the data we have used. Then I will show you the results and finally some thoughts about the future, what can be relevant for you. So our evaluation covered seven topics. And today I will focus on a few of them, like cost-benefit analysis. So we made an assessment whether the value created by ALMA initiative exceeds the cost that we spent during the projects. Also, what are the changes for project participants and the changes for project operators and in their ecosystems. And also how this ALMA call is relevant for the member states and what to consider while continuing ALMA. So we made interviews, and I also would like to thank those that we met. Actually, my colleagues, on behalf of all team, I would like to thank to all the interview participants, to the project implementers. So far we had 25 projects interviewed, also to the representatives of the European Commission, to the ALMA coordinators, and also to the managing authorities that we spoke. In addition to this, we also looked at your final reports and the lessons learned reports that are a very valuable source of information where you reflected your experience and summarized. So we gathered all this information into our evaluation report. What is also very important, we made quite a large survey of project participants, and it was done in 2 stages. First stage was in the first quarter this year, made by ESFA, and then we continued the same questionnaire, and so far We have 415 responses, which is nearly 2/3 of all the participants that completed 3 stages in ALMA projects. We also use some other sources, and I will go in more detail about them when I present the results of the CBA analysis. So what are the changes at the level of beneficiaries? And I will explain and provide you some examples. You will see that some examples are not with the concrete names, because when we made interviews, we promised to our respondents that we will keep their results confidential and present them in an aggregated manner. So, but for the other examples which we took from the reports, we indicate concrete projects and concrete countries. So first of the change or impact at the level of project implementers is the capacities that you developed during the project, the methodologies, the tools, and they will be continued after we have evidence from many projects that plan to use these tools and methods developed in other activities. Also, we identified reputational benefits. Some projects say that they are now more recognized in their local or wider communities due to the fact that they implemented this project. Some projects responded that they expanded their teams. For example, hired an additional psychologist, or maybe the first psychologist, maybe they didn't have it before. So a team expansion due to the projects. And also what is very important is the changes in managing cooperation within the member state, but also in managing transnational cooperation. So we also have this evidence, and an example here could be Spain City Council of Gijón, which reports that the cooperation framework applied in ALMA is further continued and replicated in future projects. So what are the other benefits at the level of project operators? So we see that one of the main value created during these pilot projects are partnerships. And so they are relevant for the future in several ways. And one of them is that the infrastructure, the partnerships created, they provide support beyond the projects to the project participants in terms of offering trainings, in terms of job offerings. But also these partnerships are also relevant for other young unemployed people. So these partnerships also address this group. Another opportunity is the cooperation built on the trust and the mutual experience may be used in future projects or other future activities. And an example here is the project that reported previously cooperated in a fragmented way, now operates with their partners in more coherent way. As Miguel already mentioned, new calls are being considered, and so it's a result of ALMA pilot projects, and my example here is Greece. Greece responded and indicates that they plan to have calls to cover 3 regions in Greece and to address 150 needs in their country. Okay, so cost-benefit analysis, I will shortly explain you what it is and what it says about the ALMA initiative and what we can learn from it. So this picture indicates the logic of the intervention. And with the CBA, our target is to understand what are the benefits created by the project and to quantify them, and then give a monetary value to the impacts and compare the monetary benefits with the cost of the project. So how ALMA works and how we measure the impact. So first element is that ALMA contributes to faster employment. And we checked this during the interviews, and I will show you soon the results, how the lives of these young people would look like without the ALMA. So whether they get employment, the same or worse employment sooner or later. So these are the questions. So what would be the scenario without ALMA? Then we see an element of higher value created by these young people because they increase their skills, they get new competences. So both that got employed and those that return to studies or education, they all increase their competence because they follow these 3 stages of ALMA. What is also important that one of the impacts is greater labor market stability. So these competences allow participants not only to get employed, but also to remain in the market for a longer time. Another, you can see the heart, which reflects better health or better well-being. And we know from the scientific researchers and mostly from UK that employment brings some health benefits to the people. Participation in the market, being included, brings benefits. So we also assign some quite a small value, but still is an element in the overall picture of the impacts. We also monetized with some assumptions the value of new tools and capacities and also the value of developed partnerships. So without the ALMA, there would be one scenario, and with the ALMA, the scenario is different. People return to employment earlier, they earn higher salaries, that means that they create more value for the society. So this is how we see the intervention from the CBA perspective. So what are the results? You can see the benefits from top to down, different benefits that we monetized. The largest one is the benefit of additional value created by the employed, which is more than 3.6, nearly 3.7 million euros. All these numbers are at net present value or so-called discounted values, which means that all the flows in different time periods we discount at 1 year, and in this case is 2023, the year when ALMA first expenditure was made. So we compare all these costs and these benefits, and we compare with the costs. So to do this, we made some assumptions. And one of them was what would be the scenarios without ALMA. And according to our respondents, 73% would not start working for a very long time, these people. Also, 20% would start working, but in a lower quality jobs. So lower value added created by these young people. And 6.7% would start working in the same time, but later. In the same quality job, but later. So we assigned some numbers to these statements, and we say that very long time equals to 12 months, and later equals to 6 months. Another important input in our analysis, what is the wage difference that we can expect because people participate in ALMA projects? So we looked at the researchers in this area, and we found that the most close to our situation is the researchers done in the area of Erasmus program. And meta-analysis of Erasmus program says that around 10% wage increase is achieved because of these projects. So we thought that ALMA group is more challenging than Erasmus students, so we assign 15%. And this means that we say that without ALMA, the people would earn minimum wage, and with ALMA, they would earn minimum wage plus 15%. Some other variables are used. Among them, the most important is number of people that found employment. It's 213. And the return to education or training, 110. So the overall result is that the benefits exceed the cost by 16%. The benefit cost ratio is 1.16. But what is important to say that these are not final results, because we still have, we are still waiting employment data from 8 projects. So when we add more people employed to this number that we previously used, to 213, there will be a higher benefit cost ratio. What is also important, that we monetize only what is possible, what is related to the labor market. Early employment, higher wage, more stable participation in the labor market. We could not monetize the personal changes in people's lives. So what are there? Just to remind you, Migli already said, but just a few words about this. So one of them is personal changes related to possibility to adapt in new environments, to believe in themselves, and so on. So we see that from 91 to 97% people agree or strongly agree with the statement that ALMA contributed to this parameter. Yeah, and so also positive results, 80% and more in the social competences, and in the possibility to come back to the labor market. So just a few considerations for the future. So what is important? We say that ALMA works, and we say it is a good tool to work with young unemployed people in your countries. It is important that it has dual effect, the soft skills and the labor market skills, and we see that it generates positive social and economic return. So we conclude that it is a good tool that pays off in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edvinas, for this excellent overview. Better employment, greater income, health benefits, and returns of investment to all of society. That translates in millions of dollars. Thanks again. Now, our next session, beyond the statistics and the policy, is titled Living the ALMA Journey, First-Hand Voices from Project Participants. We'll be hearing from project participants, the young people who took the step and participated in ALMA. And we'll do so through interviews that I'll be running with them, videos, personal testimonials, and even a comedy show. So, are you ready for this? All right, and we also have 2 letters written by 2 participants in the ALMA project, and they wrote the letters to themselves in 10 years. I'll read one of them, then I'll show you a video, and I'll read the second, and we'll go on. So here's the first one, and it is by Maria Kotsailido from Greece, and she says, Dear future self, 10 years from now, I imagine you have reached the place you always dreamed of, working in a large multinational company in the accounting department, making the most of the knowledge and experience you worked so hard to gain. But remember, your journey began with small but meaningful steps. And one of those steps was the ALMA program. The program helped you discover what you truly want to do, to confirm your passion for the field of accounting. Your experience at the accounting office in Berlin was the starting point, not only for your professional growth, but also your personal development. You learned how to make better decisions and stand confidently by your choices and to handle difficult situations with courage. And perhaps most importantly, you fulfilled a long-held wish to live abroad. I hope that when you read this letter, you smile. I hope you have held on to the courage, the confidence, and the love for learning. Best regards, your present self. Now we'd like to show you a joint video of the ALMA projects, which includes youth talking about their experience. Here it is.
The ALMA journey, results, reflections, and road ahead. Voices of ALMA, stories of change and growth. For many young people across Europe, the future can feel uncertain and opportunities seem out of reach. But for those who take part in the ALMA initiative, new paths begin to open. ALMA marks the start of a guided journey of growth and discovery. It strengthens skills, fuels personal development, and sparks confidence in the future. How has your participation in the ALMA project influenced your personal or professional development?
After participating in the ALMA experience, I realized what I want to do in the future and my career path.
I've always thought that I don't change but improve, so as a result of taking part in the ALMA project, I'd say that my biggest achievement in life has been finding happiness and enjoyment in every moment and situation.
I think the biggest change that has happened thus far in my life is definitely my increase in confidence. I've been a lot more confident since taking part in this initiative.
Hello, I'm Roberto. I work in a clothing store. Thanks to Proyecto ALMA, I learned one language and a new culture.
ALMA for me was an amazing project. It was empowering and life-changing. I got a new job after I finished the internship in Italy.
Thanks to the ALMA project, I became a more empathetic person. I also met some amazing people there.
The biggest result I bring with me from this experience is surely the improvement of my language skills, but also the awareness of my strengths.
For me, the biggest improvement was definitely, the biggest change was an improvement in my communication and management skills. I've become really good at communicating and managing people and resources.
What are you focusing on now, after finishing the ALMA project?
I am currently working in my field of study and I intend to continue improving myself in this field.
After completing the ALMA project, I worked as an audio, video and lighting technician for an Italian animation company near Venice, and now I'm currently starting university.
At the moment, I'm currently trying to learn the German language because I want to get a German certificate in order to gain entrance to potentially a German university in the future.
Right now I'm working as a project manager, and the biggest achievement of the project is that I'm really happy with my job.
After finishing my ALMA project, I am continuing my training with a course that will make me become a train conductor.
Describe your ALMA experience in 3 words.
The ALMA experience was constructive, transformative and memorable.
Motivation, discipline, happiness.
Exciting, interesting, and definitely enriching.
And I will describe the project as useful, fun and unforgettable.
In ALMA project, it was summer, creativity and special.
And if I had to describe my experience in 3 words, I'd say challenge, joy, and personal growth.
3 words, surely awareness, fun, and growth.
If I had to describe the project for me in 3 words, it would be growth, opportunity, It was an incredible opportunity and people. I've met amazing people during this project.
From new skills to renewed confidence, these experiences highlight the positive change ALMA fosters in young people's lives.
Brilliant. Another letter from Alex Fiot from Malta. Dear me in 2035. Around this time last year, I was getting on a plane with 7 individuals to Barcelona for a 2-month-long work experience. Throughout the prep sessions, I had learned and relearned useful skills like leadership. Leadership. It was something I never wanted. I was too afraid of disappointment. But with ALMA, I was encouraged to guide my friends in the right directions, whether it was with a cleaning schedule, how to get on the metro, or help with understanding Spanish. I did my best. Due to my experience with ALMA, I gained courage and self-esteem, something which I had been struggling with all of my life. As soon as we got back from our 2-month experience, I immediately applied for well over 50 jobs. I got interviews for around 10 and a job offer for around 3. And I landed the best job I've gotten so far in my life as a software support agent. But enough about me. Here in the past, let's talk about you there in the future. 10 years from now, I would like to be in a leadership role. Yes, I know, ironic, isn't it? I hope that in 2035, you, my future self, will have a place to call your own, with a room as a workshop for all of my creativity and creative creations. Some advice for you. Remember that you cannot please everyone. Also remember that it is okay to take breaks, and it is okay not to always feel your best. So, me, what does the future hold? I hope that when you are reading this, you are smiling with your dog on your lap and remembering all the fantastic things we have accomplished. Yours truly, you from 2025. I recommend that in every conference here in Brussels and everywhere else, you have something like the following section, comedy. And it is by 2 fantastic ALMA participants from Poland. The first is called Wojtek, and the second is called Alicia, and they will always only come here if you cheer extremely loudly. Enjoy.
So, hello everyone. My name is Wojtek. Yes, that Wojtek, the guy who somehow survived school, unemployment, and Polish winters. Honestly, after that, ALMA was easy. It's good to visit Brazil again for culture. For culture? I mean for chocolate. There is amazing. But more about me. I'm 22 years old, and I come from western part of Poland. Today, I want to tell you about my journey, how I joined to ALMA, why I chose it, my motivation, and what I'm doing right now in my life. So, why I did join ALMA? What was my motivation? Well, at the time, my life was kind of stuck. No job, no direction, no motivation, just me, my phone, and my dream to speak fluent German. My friend from Ukraine told me about ALMA and said, Wojtek, this project will help you discover your potential and new horizons. I thought about it for a long time. But at one evening, something in me said, YOLO, try. Why not? You are young. You are got nothing to lose. So then I prepare myself to move to Frankfurt, but not main, but other, because in Germany there is 2 Frankfurts, and sometimes I hear situation when people plan vacation in Germany and mess up the Frankfurt, and they need to add 700 kilometers for their plan script or something like that. So when I joined ALMA, I was immediately surprised. In the German city of Frankfurt-Oder, where I live, in Brandenburg, my hosting organization, PVB, works with young people on the both sides of the border. What makes the city unique is that it's connected to the bridge of Polish town Słubice. 2 countries, 2 cultures, but 1 shared community. My talks were mainly about supporting projects for a group of Polish-German young leaders called Competence team. I meet a lot of wonderful people, including Alicia. When we meet in the office, when she asked me for direction to a meeting, I decided to joke or pretend I was come from Czech Republic.
And you got me very well.
The program did not consist for boring lectures. It was a rare practical stuff. How to communicate with youth, how to plan workshops, how to be creative, and how to go to use Canva. I had a mentor who believed in me and supported and become my friends. And then I came a mobility experience. I traveled. I worked with new people, I saw new places, I helped with organizing events, leading and planning workshops, participating in local activities, working with others, volunteer on a partner city summer camp. It was my whole life. I visited Brussels, by the way, and EU Parliament, and KEO running a youth exchange about art and mental health. And I also helped organize a special project with guests from Kenya. This experience has helped me to improve my English to a communicative level, and there is a shocker. I couldn't believe it myself, but I began to understand German. But the best part, it was I didn't feel I finally belonged somewhere. I wasn't the lost guy anymore. I was somewhere, moving forward. ALMA gave me something I hadn't felt in a long time, motivation. And so, projects come to the end, and I return to my hometown, not with a bag full of presents from Santa Claus, but with experience and a strong believer that traveling and discovering yourself is truly worth it. And now I live with my mom and my grandmother. At the moment, I'm looking for a job. And after the ALMA project, I complete the course called English for Work and Job Hunting. And also, I have a new goal ahead of me, probably the biggest challenge in my country, getting a driving license. Thank you so much. I give my voice to Alicia.
So, hello everyone, my name is Alicia, and just like Wojtek over here, I was chosen to participate in this year's ALMA New Horizons program, and we work at the same organizations, and so many things have happened during this time, but if I had to choose just one highlight, it would be this situation that happened during actually my last project. And well, so one of the key milestones of this project was a trip to Berlin. And since this whole project was about art and mental health, I thought, well, Berlin is perfect for that, right? It's the city of art. And yeah, let's go to an art museum, easy. Except I had a group of 50 teenagers, and if you've ever talked to a teenager, if you know any teenagers, you know that it's hard to find a museum that would, actually teach them something about art, but would also be cool, right? Because teenagers. And also, we had a budget, so it had to be really budget friendly. And after a quick Google search, I found one with great reviews, amazing websites, and photos that made it seem like this whole experience would be truly life-changing. And so, also, the ticket prices were suspiciously low, which should have been a red flag. Now I know. So a big warning for you if you ever go to Berlin. So we split into groups. Each group had a 45-minute slot, and my friend goes in with the first group. And after 15 minutes, Literally 15 minutes, she texts me, "Where are you?" So my heart drops because so many things can go wrong when you have 50 teenagers. And I call her and I ask her, like, where are you? What happened? Is everything okay? And she says, "Yeah, we just finished." What? My jaw drops to the floor. Like, what do you mean? You're done after 15 minutes? What, did you sprint? What, was the museum closed after all? And she said, "Yeah, we even stalled for a few minutes because we didn't want to make it seem like embarrassing, right? We went through the whole museum in 10 minutes. And so this life-changing art experience was actually a super tiny museum with maybe 2 floors, maybe 20 art pieces, no guide at all. So honestly, I've seen bigger exhibitions on the walls of metro stations, and maybe they were even better. And what makes it worse? The night before, I gave this whole TED talk to the youth leaders about, it's gonna be such a life-changing experience for your youth because, so much art, and they're gonna learn so much about art and mental health. And let's just say the expectations were not met. And the teenagers looked at me like I promised them a Beyonce concert and instead invited them to a karaoke bar. And hey, at least the tickets were cheap, turns out, for a very good reason.
Alicia and Wojtek, thank you so much. Do you want to stand up, get another applause, and take a bow? Go for it. Thank you very much for telling us your story in such a creative and comical way. And I was particularly struck by Wojtek's words, who said, "I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, motivation." That is the magic ingredient for any success in our lives, isn't it? Our next bit is equally special, and it is an interview with 4 Italian participants in the ALMA project. Please come forward and take your seats. Welcome, welcome. Have a seat. Welcome, 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 and welcome to you. Yeah, maybe we can have one here. Great. Excellent. Let me introduce them to you quickly. I have sitting somewhat in the middle, Sirio, who is from Bologna. Give him an applause.
Yeah, thanks.
And we're also joined by Gaia, sitting right here. Give her an applause.
Thank you.
And she's, by the way, from Borgo Manero. And sitting right next to me is Nicola from Calabria.
Buon pomeriggio, hello.
And last but not least, in the greenish sweater is Francesca. Give her an applause.
Ciao a tutti.
Francesca is from Brescia, and you might be wondering who is that very young man sitting next to her. Not an ALMA participant, but an ALMA project coordinator who will be translating, interpreting for Francesca. Please also welcome Mauro. So I'll have some questions for our good friends from Italy, and then we move on. Let me start with you, Sirio.
Yeah, sure.
Can you show us your fantastic tie?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll show all of it now. You know, even better. It's more than I wished for. There you go. Good.
For people who loves tennis, you can choose if you want Sinner or Alcaraz. But yeah, this is one of my ties.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
So, Sirio, you actually have 999 more of
Even
those.
more probably ties. You know, everyone has his own drugs, and mine are ties. And ancient books as well. So
Ancient books.
and books
Because
in
you
general.
studied Sanskrit, no?
Yeah, a few years back I nearly graduated in Sanskrit and Indian philosophy.
But then you switched to your passion.
Yeah, fashion world.
Fashion.
Yeah.
What do you think of how we are dressed?
I won't judge you. I swear, I won't judge you. You look wonderful. Don't
You look
worry.
wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
A Sanskrit speaking, if it's spoken at all, fashion
No,
designer.
for nothing, really.
Gaia, I'd like to turn to you.
Okay,
You are the youngest of the bunch,
exactly.
I think.
Yes.
How old were you when you went abroad?
I was 19,
19, wow. And you are now?
21.
21. How was it? I think probably it was the first time for you to live abroad.
Yes, it was the first time living that long in another
Country?
But before I was in Ireland for 2 weeks with the school.
So you had a
yeah.
little experience.
Yes.
But can you tell us a little about that experience? How is it to go and live abroad at such a young age without your parents?
Well, first of all, I have a lot of anxiety. I live with a lot of anxiety, and I never thought that I would go on another country that much longer. But I did it, and now I did not regret it because it was a great experience.
Fantastic. Would you say that experience has changed you as a person?
Yes, of course. I have less anxiety, of course, because I was in Barcelona, so it's a really big city with a lot of people that I have to meet. So yes, it was helpful.
Brilliant. And you are by training a beautician.
Exactly. I studied as a beautician, and I went there to do what I was meant to do, but there was a problem. I did 2 months as a beautician in a beauty salon, but at last minute they closed.
Wow, okay, don't tell us anything. Let's have a cliffhanger here. We'll come back to you and finish the story.
Okay.
You're excited to come back to Gaia, I'm sure. All right. Francesca, hello, how are you doing?
Bene, grazie.
All right. I think we understood that one. Bene, grazie. All right, excellent. So, Francesca, first of all, I'm very happy you're with us. Such a courage to sit here on stage and have someone interpret and speak to us in Italian. Thank you very much.
Grazie.
All right. Good. Let's see what more Italian words I know. Francesca, you're an artist.
Sì.
Can you translate more, please?
Yes.
Yes.
And
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of art do you make?
Sono principalmente illustratrice, mi diletto anche un po' di graphic designer. Basta.
Uh-huh.
So, illustrator, graphic designer, painter.
Brilliant. And painter. Wow. And how do you decide what kind of piece you make?
Dipende da cosa mi ispira, e anche il tipo di soggetto o il concetto che voglio interpretare rappresentandolo nel mio stile di disegno.
Right. Mauro?
So it depends from inspiration and the concept, the subject she wants to represent at the moment.
Right. So it's really inspiration, right? Very artsy. Do you go out looking for inspiration or just knows where you live and it comes to you?
Dipende, molte volte esco o navigo su internet, trovo qualcosa che mi ispiri o se no una semplice idea può scaturire l'ispirazione giusta.
Okay. Mauro?
So it depends from the moment. Sometimes, a lot of time happens that she goes out and look for the inspiration outside. But a lot of time also surfing the internet, she find the right inspiration.
Right. I think you also create digital art. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Do you use AI?
No.
So you're a real artist?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Good, that deserves...
I go home, bye-bye.
Now we have another very artistic type, and that is Nicola, sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
But first, Nicola, remind me of the city where you were doing your work experience.
In Vienna.
In Vienna, and there you experienced something that is called FOMO. What is FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Yeah, so it's a term from investment. Why did you have FOMO in Vienna?
Because I have this willing to see everything which Vienna organize, and there are a lot of shows in the museums, there are a lot of parties, a lot of concerts, and you're always there watching what is the news, and for sure you're gonna miss something because you cannot go everywhere, and also about money and time because we work, and always oh, there was that and I could have been there, so it's FOMO.
FOMO in the cultural life. Now, you did your work experience at a Spanish chain of hotels.
Yeah.
As a receptionist.
Receptionist, yeah.
Right.
Well.
Receptionist? No?
Yeah, I started as waiter, and then I turned up as receptionist, and then.
And they actually offered you a job on your 4th day of your training.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Does that show in your statistics that it's that fast? It does? Okay. I think you pushed up the average.
Thank you.
Why did they, I mean, I like you, don't get me wrong, but in 4 days, why did they offer you a job immediately?
I don't know if someone of you knows Italian people. And yeah, especially in the south, we are
Where you are from?
Yeah, where I'm from. And we are more warm people. So they took this as a fully potential growing person in the chain, because I didn't know nothing about technical stuff, because I never worked as a receptionist. So they taught me all the stuff for do the work properly, but the other thing that you cannot teach to no one,
the hospitality part, the people part,
stuff, they told me, yeah, you got it, so you can do whatever you want.
So you teach us now.
I cannot teach.
All right, okay.
But yeah, I will be happy to help.
Good. I want to return to you for a bit, Francesca. Now, you did your work experience in Barcelona.
Sì, precisamente a Corbera degli Llobregat, che è un paesino di Barcellona. Sono all'incirca 40 minuti da Barcellona, la città.
So, yeah, she carried out an internship, but 45 minutes from Barcelona, from in Corbera del Llobregat.
Okay, brilliant. And what is it that you did?
Ho fatto l'insegnante di arte in un doposcuola per bambini dai 4 anni fino ai 14 circa. Ho insegnato varie tecniche di pittura, dall'acquarello all'acrilico ai gessetti. Abbiamo fatto anche piccoli lavoretti tipo dei photobook che loro avrebbero portato a casa per le loro varie attività.
Right.
So she was an art teacher, and she for an private after school, and she taught some techniques
to children.
Yeah, to
Between
children.
what ages?
From 4 to 14.
Okay.
Years old, watercolors or acrylics, other basic techniques, and she taught this kind of, and they also realized practical stuff like photo books and canvas.
Right, brilliant. And what did you like the most about that experience?
Mi è piaciuto molto il tirocinio che ho fatto, mi è piaciuto in generale un po' tutto. Ho avuto la fortuna di avere un gruppo con cui sono andata molto d'accordo, quindi tutte le attività che ci hanno proposto, l'ente che ci ha ospitato, le ho trovate molto interessanti e coinvolgenti, quindi in generale mi è piaciuta tutta l'esperienza in sé.
So she really enjoyed all the experience, like the internship and the group she shared the experience with, and also all the activities proposed by the organization, like also the group activities and the cultural activities.
Brilliant. I'll come back to you, Francesca, but grazie mille so far. I turn to your neighbor, Sirio.
Yes.
Sirio, you did your work experience in Sevilla.
Correct.
In a fine wedding dress boutique.
Correct.
Wow. Is anyone planning to get married anytime soon? Is that a yes or a no? So how was that?
Well, it was great because getting an internship in the fashion world is very difficult. And also I needed to learn new skills because I came from another total different background. So I really needed a place where I could learn a good environment with someone who was very on the spot, and she was great. Rosa Leon, the designer, was very helpful. I learned so much, and also Inma Felipe, the teacher, because in this atelier they also taught how to sew. So I started also how to sew, and it was great. It was totally unexpected for me.
With the hand or the machine or
With
both?
the machine as well,
Wow.
yeah, and also a bit of pattern making, how this works, and it was very helpful because when you draw, if you know how the garments, how the clothing are made, it's better. You know what you're drawing, and if that garment is actually producible, you know, you can make it for real, not on the paper.
Because the drawing part you already knew how to do.
I learned by myself drawing on the iPad because I have no talent in drawing actually, but thanks to digital technology, if you learn how to use it properly, it's great. You can do things that you never thought you can do.
Right.
So I was very on point on this. I told her I only draw with the iPad if it's fine with you. This is what you got. And she told me, yeah, I chose you for that because I don't know anything about this stuff.
So you actually also contributed to her learning.
It was actually a equal, you know, interchange of skills. She taught me how to draw, of course, but also, you know, pattern making, how an atelier works, how to relate with the clients, with their asking. It was actually very, very great for me. It was great.
Sirio, how was the preparation phase?
Was actually good because we did some hours of language, and also we met with other colleagues because we were a few groups of us. So we met, and actually I was in a very good group. We're still friends today. And I was actually a bit, I did a period of in India, living in India, 6 months in Calcutta. So I was actually, Spain, much more
It wasn't very hard.
Yeah, that part wasn't that difficult. The difficult part was it's still a new adventure, so you don't know what to expect, you know. So that was it. But I actually think that being one who made this kind of stuff already, it was actually helpful for the young people like Gaia, who were in my group, so we could actually...
Ah, you were in the same group?
No, we weren't in the same group, but there were people like Gaia in my group, so it actually was very balanced.
Brilliant.
It was a very balanced experience, yes.
Speaking of Gaia, back to you. Gaia, we stopped at a cliffhanger. You go to a place expecting to have a work experience. You start and they close the shop.
Yes, the day before.
But you did start.
I started
as a beautician for a few days, weeks?
For 2 months.
2 months you worked as a beautician.
So in total, I was in Barcelona for 4 months.
Okay, so you worked for 2 months. They closed the shop. What happened then?
I asked help because I just said, what do I do now? I live in Barcelona, I do nothing with this project. So they gave me 2 options, to work on a fruit shop
Fruit shop.
Fruit shop.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's correct.
No, it's correct. Fruit.
Okay. And the other one to work at the Cathedral of Barcelona.
The big famous one.
What do I choose? The Cathedral, obviously. With my anxiety, I choose the Cathedral. But I did it. It was fun. It was a completely different thing that I never experienced because it was not my...
Your specialization.
Exactly.
So what did you do in the cathedral? What was your work?
Well, I cured the museum of the cathedral. I sell scarves because inside you have to dress properly, and sometimes
It's a church after all. Yeah, it's a
exactly.
cathedral.
People were wearing shorts and it was not allowed, so they have to buy the scarves.
Right. So you actually did something completely different
Exactly.
than you were expecting, than you had studied for. How was that?
It was a little bit. I was a little bit scared because I didn't know what
to
was
expect?
Exactly. But at the end, it opened a lot of doors because now I'm not very sure if I want to do the beautician because I like that job, and I want to try other jobs to know if that is right for me.
Right. Beautiful. So it broadened your horizon, actually.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And now, again, you're doing something completely different. What do you do now? You're back home, I think. Am I correct?
Yes, I'm in Italy, where I was born, in the same city. I'm working as a beautician. Beautician? No, sorry, with the Italian gesture. As a librarian.
A librarian?
So completely different thing, but I'm learning new things that are helpful to the future. Even though I'm not going to do a librarian.
Yeah, but since you're very young, you're just taking on all these new experiences.
Exactly.
And meanwhile, you're thinking about what it is exactly that you want to do in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
what is it?
Well, now the first thing is beautician because I have the experience. Because for other jobs you need to learn and have some. You need to learn at school. You need to redo the school. It depends on the job, but I don't know. For now, beautician. But if I try something that I really, really like, maybe something else.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Gaia. I return to you, Nicola. Take us back to Vienna. You started working as a receptionist, but like I said, you also are into creativity. So how do these things connect?
Like specifically, nothing.
They don't. Okay.
But I applied to this project because for me it was like kind of a way to have a different life. And when you have a different life, you can know like different things, have new point of view, know different people, so they can tell you about their lives, and their lives can give you the inspiration to make new things and to be creative.
Just to be clear, you are still working at that hotel at the reception?
I am.
Since how long?
Now 2 months.
2 months already?
Yeah.
And has this helped you so far in becoming more creative? Because you have a background in, I think, music, arts, and entertainment.
Yeah, I graduated at DAMS. I don't know if you know, it's like disciplines of arts, music, and theater, and entertainment, like in general. But this is only theoretical, so I needed the practical part, but I couldn't do it. So after working a lot of years in only in the summer, just to have my small job to have some money for me, I just left because I needed a different
something else.
Yeah, I needed something else, and then this project was the main thing for me, also to test myself, because I needed to live different lives also to be more creative. And also, this is one thing that someone said, I don't remember who, the more creative is the more personal. And I wanted to go out from the academical perspective, so more artistical and personal. So
Practical.
I'm living different lives. I can say different things, and I can create different things now. Because before I was stuck in something that was not so like how do I say, like
Working for you.
yeah, not working, not functional to creativity.
Excellent. So it has actually given your creativity a boost. And you said talk about other things, but I think also your language skills developed.
Yes,
Yes? Okay. There's a question mark there.
Yeah, there's a question mark because like English now I feel like I'm talking like my like uncles coming from like America and they want to speak Italian again since a lot, so they have this strange accent. But I'm learning German, and it for German speakers I know it's so hard. So sorry, just 2 months. And speaking with my colleagues, I start to speak also Spanish. Just speaking, not learning. So my grammar is not a Spanish grammar, it's like Italian and Spanish one, but yeah, I'm speaking also Spanish.
Brilliant. I'll get back to you in a bit. Francesca, my last question for you. What are your ambitions for the future?
È una domanda un po' difficile, però di sicuro questa esperienza mi ha fatto capire che voglio provare altre cose, non solo aver fatto questo tirocinio con dei bambini e in sé, quindi sono aperta a provare cose nuove.
So it's a tough question, difficult question, but this project helped her to look for other stuff, so other things to do, so other topics, not only the one she carried on the internship, so with children, but also other topics.
So to see opportunities in other fields of work and skill. Brilliant. And what is the closest to your heart of all the things that you could do?
Qualcosa legato ancora all'arte, però davvero non voglio chiudermi niente al futuro, sono disposta a provare di tutto.
Okay.
So something connected to art, but she is open to try everything in the future.
Very realistic and very smart. Thanks. Sirio, we
Yes.
had 2 letters writing to the versions of people's selves in 10 years. What would you tell yourself in 10 years? If you could
Well-
talk to yourself in 10 years, what would you say?
Well, I will tell myself, you made it. Well, that's not, that's it's actually not that simple. But I will also tell myself of 5 years ago, you're gonna make it, because it's not always granted to go forward. So actually, I think. I hope actually to be still in the fashion industry, but actually I hope on my terms, wherever that means.
Right.
And I hope to get my project on the road. So my fashion brand. So I think that would be great.
Do you already have a name for your fashion brand?
Yes, I have it.
it is?
Liqueer. Yes, Liqueer.
Keep an eye out for that.
Liqueer,
Liqueer.
yeah.
You were here when he pronounced the name.
Liqueer,
Thank you very
yeah.
much. Nicola, where are you in 5 years?
I actually don't know, and I hope for myself to find like the right path for me and to mix all the skills and also my inner self, and to find a job which mix everything, just not to be happy for where I am or where I will be.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Francesca, Nicola, Gaia, Sirio, and Mauro for the interpretation.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Thank you so much.
Grazie. Thank you.
Now, we've given attention and rightly so, to the project participants, but they wouldn't have had the success they had without the project coordinators, operators. And there are several of those in the room. Can I ask you to stand up so we can see who you are? Project operators, stand up. Please give them an applause. No, that can be louder. Project operators, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. You may sit down again. Now for the grand finale of this section, and we need to do a little reshuffling on stage, so please go ahead and do it. I will not tell you what they will do, but there are two participants in the ALMA project. They're called Jennifer and Raquel, and they are from Spain. It's self-explanatory. When they are on stage, you give them an applause, and they'll do fantastic things. All right, I'll cue you for the applause. Just a second. I think now is the right time, Raquel and Jennifer, for the applause. Yes, give them an applause.
Hi, my name is Raquel. I'm from Gijón, and I did my internship in Palermo in an autism association as a psychologist. And now I'm going to explain how the project did the best for me using words from mental health.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer. I'm 21 years old and I'm from Malaga, Spain, and I did my internship in Weimar, Germany at the Hotel Elephant. And I'm gonna show you a demonstration of what I learned during my stay over there.
So we are gonna make a recipe. So Jennifer, what do we need to start?
Let's check the book. First of all, we need a spoon of courage, because giving the first step on the first day is already a big achievement.
So that's why we need to make a mix with a cup of patience, because nothing works if we make it quickly.
Then later we should add 2 liters of active participation, because no one gonna do it for you. If you don't move, nothing gonna happen.
And then we are going to mix it with a cup of perseverance. We have to make it a little bit every day.
And also a cup of collaboration and trust, because without a team, a recipe can't work.
But then we need a little bit of confidence. You have to believe in yourself and to feel it good even if you make mistakes.
Also, that's why we need 200 grams of continuous learning from every single mistake, every single conversation, and every single click.
And then we are going to add 2 tablespoons of self-knowledge. We need to know what makes us feel better and what not.
That's why also we need a spoon of responsibility and commitment, because this path is yours and no one gonna walk it for you.
That's why we need to add a little bit of personal boundaries, deciding which ingredients are good for us and which ones no.
That's why also we need a cup of positive attitude for you to be open to the change and show out people and demonstrate them a positive attitude from you.
And we are going to bring it all together with courage, because we have to make it little by little, even we are afraid of doing it. If the recipe doesn't work in the first time, we will try it together in the next day.
And that's why, finally, we need to mix everything with a little bit of courage, that you should know that this project is gonna make you be a person more stronger, calmer, and capable. So,
and that's ALMA, a recipe to discover
that you can do it too.
And now we are going to offer you some candies with positive words because alma in Spanish means soul. So to achieve this is for you, we are going to give it you.
What a fantastic creation. Look at it. I sometimes can't even fold my own shirt half as nicely as this. Raquel and Jennifer, muchas gracias. Give them a huge applause. This was fantastic, and I'm very happy that you took the time to join us, all of the young folks, and tell us about your story in ALMA. Now I kindly invite my colleague, Claire, please give her an applause, to come forward and share with you some very important practical remarks.
Yes, indeed. It's a little bit difficult to follow that, because wasn't that inspiring? I'm going to take this away with me. Let your inner voice speak louder than your fears. So thank you very much. I shall keep that. For my recipe for success, I thought yours was fantastic. So all I have to really say is that after lunch, we are going to go to the Agora. What is that? It's the project market. It's on the first floor. And this is where you can really do a deep dive into these projects. As you know, there were 28 project operators across 10 EU member states, and they're going to be with us. And some of them will be in Green Terra 1. I think you're in Green Terra 1. I'm in Red Terra 2. And Astrid Heisch, are you here? Yes. Where are you? Good. So you are in Orange Terra 3. So we have our project operators. We're going to be asking them questions about the progress, the achievements, the lessons learnt, some of those challenges, as well as the road forward. And then you'll grab a cup of coffee and you will have an hour where you can go up to each of them. You can also talk to the youngsters who've benefited and ask your real questions. But before that, because that begins at 3 o'clock.
Yes. Before this, we'll have a family picture right now. And once we're done with that, and you are sure that you are on the picture and smiling, we will have lunch, and I believe it's in that space over there. And at 3 o'clock, the program starts that Claire informed you about. Here's our photographer. I'll invite him to come to the stage, and I ask all of you to stand up.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dalia. Thanks, I hope you have had interesting breakout sessions. I'm sure we did. And now what we will do, before we have the concluding remarks, we will share with you some of the key takeaways from the rounds of interviews where you have visited. The interviews with the project coordinators, the project operators. And we'll do so as follows. I'll start, and then that's what we agreed, I think. Yeah, I'll start. I'll give the floor to Claire, because she also did one of them. And then I'll summarize the one that was done by Astrid. And Astrid was moderating, and thanks for that. There she is. She is one of the ALMA network experts. Thanks a lot, Astrid. Just so you know, the summaries that you will get, no, you will not get a summary. So it's not a comprehensive overview, but we'll simply share with you what we remembered, what we think was interesting. I'll start with the challenges in my group. Selecting participants was very hard. Sometimes they had too many participants, so they had to think about how to select the best one, quote unquote. There were some dropouts in some cases which had to be dealt with. Collaboration locally was also a challenge. Sometimes collaboration with partners abroad had to be thought about more carefully, take a lot more time to build and create trust. After all, you are sending your participants to a place where you are not present on the ground. It was said, however, despite all the challenges, in principle, the structure of the ALMA program is excellent, and I'm quoting the word excellent. How about the future? Here are some ideas as to improving ALMA in the future. Better work on the preparation phase. Although it had a lot of attention, it needs even more attention. Think about expectation management, think about language skills that could be very easy for some, but difficult for others. Think about the fact that many of the participants went abroad for the first time in their life, on their own, without parents. Creating a tailor-made approach to some individuals, not only in the prep phase, but also in the after phase, is a very good idea. Not every participant is the same and comes out the same. Expectation management, I've already mentioned. One organization said, if we would have done things differently, we would have taken on board even more participants because we're able to do it. And one participant said, better marketing is a good idea. Now, how about impact? Several people said, actually, the smiles on the participants' faces when they return, that is the impact. They are content and they are happy with the experience they've had. They did not expect the speed by which participants would be able to find a job or enroll into training and education, which highlights the great motivation that they had. 2 success stories I'd like to share with you. One participant was so excellent, they were immediately hired by the project operator. You might want to think about doing that yourself. And one participant was working in a bakery where she was asked to create a cake, to bake a cake from her hometown. What's the cake called in Italian? Caprese. And I'm told it's very delicious, like everything in Italy. And it was so excellent that this now has become a standard part of the very full and excellent menu of that bakery. That's it from my group. Claire, how about yours?
Okay, so I had a very sunny group from the Mediterranean and the Atlantic of Portugal, Greece, Spain, and Malta. Lots of positive change, lots of transformation, introverts becoming extroverts, ending up working in communications. Music really helped people boost their confidence while they were in the mobility phase. One person learnt the organ in a German church and then went on to get a great job. And I think we saw the positive change when we saw Raquel and Jennifer from Spain earlier today talk about the recipe of success and how confident they were. And Vanessa from Portugal really made the point, ALMA is so different. It's not learning in a school classroom. It is practical hands-on doing. But what was interesting is it's not just for the young people. It was, in the words of Juan from Malta, revolutionary in the way that their agency worked, having also to actively go out and find a group of young people that wouldn't normally be their clientele. And that comes to the challenges that Ali has also mentioned, is that you've got to find them. And where do you find these young people? Because they're not in education and training. And you've also got to find the right people. And Nuria was saying sometimes she felt they didn't have the right level of maturity. That's about the expectations there. And there were some dropouts. But on the mobility phase, of course, I think everyone in the room, if we had to share a place with people, there would be conflict, personality clashes, and they had to be ironed out just like in real life. But it was decided that it was better to iron them out and work with the young person because, of course, that young person could have gone back home and felt really excluded. So, third phase, really, really critical. And how do you keep the motivation? after the young people have had the fun of going to another country. And Gabrielle said, perhaps a shorter period, more intense, more activities. And Laura was, yes, get them into job fairs or bring employers to them. You've got to keep the momentum going. Lovely suggestion that you would expect from Spain, and you'll be pleased about this one, Ruth. A party in Brussels for all the beneficiaries, right?
It will cost you money, though.
We can find creative ways. Yes, and I think Juan from Malta was really, it is that third phase where there's the impact and the outcome, and that's what needs to be worked on. And again, what we heard from Portugal was thank you for that monitoring and evaluation that we heard this morning, because figures and that cost-benefit ratio really works. It works with people who've got tight budgets. It may work with promoting this for the participants, and it may work also with employers to show the results. And I think, we heard from Ulrika, didn't we, this morning, that the needs are far greater than the current initiative. We need to scale and nurture. We heard from Roxana Minzato, we need more ALMA. And indeed, all of the project operators talked about their vision of scaling and sustaining. Greece, we heard, more regions, more people. Malta, more regions, more people. So, more ALMA was basically the key message.
So from Astrid's group, and you'll notice this one will be shorter because a lot has been mentioned already. I hope you don't mind, Astrid. Positive impacts were maximized because groups were targeted that are often overseen. Examples are homeless people, people from the Roma community. And there was a lot of growth realized for every participant, not just on a professional level, but really also on a personal level, which is equally valuable. It is highlighted also that the mobility aspect of the ALMA project is really a key factor. It is what enables growth that otherwise would not have been achieved. And taking the time for preparation for mobility was an important part. Challenges. Mental issues that had to be dealt with. It is not easy in this world if you are young sometimes. Mentors also needed to be properly prepared. Budgets may need to be adapted to the receiving country. And collecting information about participants, including medical information that you might need from their parents, from themselves, from their educational facilities, etc., was sometimes challenging, but it is an important. And it is mentioned here, a tailor-made approach was very often lacking, and this is a very important factor to improve. The future. In one sentence, a European solution, that is what ALMA is, to become not just more inclusive and equal as a society, but to also help people become resilient. And that is a European theme, isn't it? Resilient given the challenges of our new labor market. In order to continue, we need more flexibility and clear criteria and expectations. And this is the last point, more connection should be facilitated between the project operators. They can exchange good practices and learn from each other how to tackle the challenges that they face. Please do continue ALMA. Now, we have 3 more interventions. The last one will be by me and Claire, and the one in the middle will be a surprise. And the first one is by the Director for Funds, Programming and Implementation at DG Ample, Ruth Pazerman.
Good afternoon again. Very happy to be here. I apologize for my boss, the Deputy Director General Andriana Sukova, who actually fell ill, and that's why she's not here to close instead of me. So you get me instead. We are finally arrived at the end of this day, full of exchanges and of reflections, and it has been an honor for me to listen to your stories, to learn from your experience, and also to see your enthusiasm and commitment. And I'm certain that all of us will go back home with a bag full of insights and learnings for the future. This morning, listening to the speeches of the Vice President Mizzato, the German State Secretary Lilian Chan, the EMCO Chair Ulrika Ho, and the Director of ESFA Laura Ghirleviciene, it became very clear that ALMA has strong support across our institutions at every level. The European Commission remains committed to supporting the ALMA initiative, because we cannot afford to waste the talents of our young people or to overlook the unique contributions that they bring to our society. And ALMA is a successful solution to truly reach young people and provide them with an opportunity to prosper. We learned this morning that to fully unlock ALMA's potential, we need strong institutional support, we need mainstreaming. Otherwise, there is a risk that in many member states, ALMA remains a one-off intervention rather than a systemic change. The EU level funded from the European Social Fund the EU level core, which was funded by the European Social Fund, has led several member states to integrate ALMA into their European Social Fund programming, as we saw. This is a successful example on how innovation, supported by a strong ecosystem and first-hand experience, can lead to effective policy integration. ALMA should be accessible to every vulnerable youth across Europe, because it provides targeted support for their specific needs. And that is why I really renew my invitation to the representatives of the managing authorities that have not yet adopted this scheme to invest in our youth by launching ALMA calls for proposals at both national and regional levels. I really want to thank the colleagues from the ALMA network for their unwavering support and commitment, for ensuring that ALMA continues to transform the lives of European youth in their upcoming multi-annual financial framework. And in this context, we're interested to see your position paper that you presented on the possible integration of ALMA in Erasmus+. Through all of our discussions, we have answered the crucial question. Looking ahead, why should we continue to invest in ALMA? And here it's very clear, the evaluation that we saw brings numbers that speak for themselves. Around 2/3 of participants reintegrated into employment or education. 80% of participants affirmed that ALMA was a truly life-changing experience for them, a catalyst for personal development, which boosted their confidence and provided them with a stronger sense of European identity. Beyond the numbers, ALMA has triggered a deeper understanding of inclusion, a recognition of young people's potential, and a shared sense of joint responsibility to create opportunities for the most vulnerable young people for their economic, social, and cultural reintegration. ALMA can drive a profound social transformation by promoting core values such as solidarity, trust, and empowerment. It challenges all the actors involved to rethink the way they work, inspiring new approaches and a shared commitment to change. Now, in a few weeks' time, we will publish the Impact Evaluation Report. It gathers good practices, tools, and guidelines. I invite you to read it and to attend the official presentation, which will be done at the European Social Rights Forum, which is on the 4th of March here in Brussels, but also online. The whole forum can be seen online. Finally, I want to thank the main people for implementing ALMA, our project operators, and the participants. We've all been deeply moved by your stories and inspired by your commitment and resilience. I really hope that ALMA has just been the beginning of a journey and that you will continue along this path with the same belief in education. I'm certain that the skills that you have gained and the reflections that you have developed during this period will remain lifelong treasure for you. After my speech, we will have on stage a young participant, Joanna, from Portugal. She has a surprise for us, which I don't want to spoil, but I just want to say one thing, that she perfectly captures the essence of the ALMA initiative. I really wish you all a long journey, a wonderful journey ahead, and I hope a long journey ahead, and thank you very much for being part of this journey with us. Thank you.